Dead meme. Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode. I don't know. How many? Whatever. It doesn't matter. You see it on the screen.
145, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We've got a guest here with us today. Obviously, our boy Leon LUSH is with us today.
The LUSH man himself.
It's a real treat to be here.
The realest nigga on the block.
Yeah.
You gonna do me like that right out the gates? Shit, I know it's gonna be this type of podcast.
Just say it, Leon. Why don't you say it a few times?
Just start right out of the gates. Just get me to say it. Yeah.
Top of the show.
In fairness, this is almost, even when there's no guest here, it's technically, one of the more diverse podcasts that exists. Most podcasts are just like two white guys, just talking about, I don't know, film or some bullshit. And so this is us. Before we started recording, we were actually all of us as a group bullying Kingston's future wife, who is just a jackass, according to him.
Stop. Just stop.
Told me. He said the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just bully her when the podcast starts. He said, if you do, it's going to be on site. But sorry, buddy, we live across the country.
He said verbatim. He said verbatim before we started, she keeps bothering me about useless bullshit about the house that I don't give a flying fuck about, and I just don't care, this bitch. I don't care. That's what he said. This is verbatim what he said.
Verbatim.
He said one more text.
I'm gonna have you followed, Chris.
One more text. I'm going to end it on this podcast right now, he said. But he said, wait, we're not rolling it, are we?
That's exactly what it was.
One of you guys stalked.
In Sweeney's in his defense, he's in the middle of you're looking to furnish a new place, and I know the pain of going through that with a significant other when they're sending you texts about like different patterns of curtains or like the color of this versus the color of that, and like you have to kind of pretend to give a shit, but ultimately you're like, please Lord, just decide for me, tell me how much it's going to cost us, call it a day.
That's all I really want. She watches this too. I know she's gonna see it, and I'm gonna have to hear about this later. But honey, I don't care about the color of pots. I don't care about the color of curtains. I don't give a fuck what our couch looks like. As long as it's not too expensive, honey, I'm all in. Just do what you want. Just don't touch my comics. That's it. That's all I ask.
Don't touch my comics. That's
it.
funny.
Yeah. I think we all have, as men, as brolic manly men, all four of us.
Facts.
Right.
I feel like we just have. I feel like we just
Chris
have
Ray got more recently with all this working out, but
more recently.
Looking juicy.
Yeah.
I had somebody. So I posted a picture of like just like kind of like, hey, what's up? Just like a general physique, and somebody said you are now in twunk territory, and I had to look up what that was.
Ooh.
So.
From
from
twink to hunk, is it in between?
Yeah, it's like in between. It's like a twink hunk or something. So like, I'll take it, man. That's great. I appreciate it. But
I think twunk is a level up from twink, at least.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'd rather be a twunk than a twink. A million %.
That's definitely
100%.
evolution right there. That's definitely.
You're like one Liver King cycle away from being a hunk, so you're
Dang, dude.
baby steps.
Just keep going, bro. Just keep going.
Baby steps.
I would love to see a Liver King era Chris Ray gun. That'd be.
Oh my god,
hilarious.
dude! Just hit him with like $15K worth of HGH a month, and just like a base of like 2 grams of test a week. See what happens. That would be so fucking
see
funny.
What kind of creature you'd look like. You look like Quasimodo with like the Quasi. You look like Quasimodo, but just not as deformed.
You'd have like dick
you'd just
veins
be really
coming out of your
broad
fingertips,
and
dude. It would be unbelievable.
I would be a very like 16:9 looking person. I think it would be a very off-putting aspect ratio for a person to have. But
yep.
All that bullshit aside, it's cool to have Leon here because it's been a fucking long time since we've.
It has been, man.
Yeah,
we've had some roots though, all of us together, like old school VidCons, 2017, I think, and we've linked up at other conventions since pre-pandemic, I guess. But then just kind of been buddies off and on throughout the years, and just in a similar industry, kind of doing similar things and dealing with similar bullshit. So it's nice to get on and chop it up once in a while. It's been too long. Yeah.
It's dope. It's so fun. It's fun going online every now and again and just seeing like a viral clip from somebody who's like, oh yeah, it's Leon. It's because the most recent thing was I can't remember exactly what it was because you've had a couple since then, but like there was one with you and your wife.
It was definitely the toilet seat one with
the
your
toilet
wife.
seat one is genius, man. That's just a valid conversation that no one wants to have.
Didn't
and
Chris-
you're the one that had it, you know?
I love the scope of how far that went to the point where people they have no idea about you.
Right.
So that was I love those reactions.
That's my favorite part and why I do it, because they don't, once it reaches outside of your typical ecosystem of people that are familiar with my level of sarcasm and satire, you're just taken seriously. So I'm getting like messages from like these red pill Instagram accounts that are reposting it, like, yeah, fuck women, like take that, it's equal rights. And then the other side of it on Twitter, I'm just getting retweeted by like a billion like blue-haired feminists, like, this fucking guy I fucking hate, man. This is why no woman can trust men. And it's like, I'm just sitting here like lapping it up like a fucking golden retriever, dude, loving every second of it. Like when I made it, it was just one of those, it was literally off the cuff. I was like, oh, this could be funny. I was in that mode where I was probably like just got done watching like a couple of, fanfic Andrew Tate fucking shorts on YouTube where it's like, it's like, like the every 12-year-old kid from like the Middle East fucking, they have like a TikTok account where they make little fan edits of Andrew Tate, and he's like fucking walking out of his Stang, and he's like, I'm rich, and then it cuts to this sick song, and it's like dun 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 dun, dun, and then it's over, and it has like 600 billion views. You're like, wow, that is inspiring shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna try to take like that, do that fucking that same style of manosphere shit, but make it about the most innocuous thing you can possibly think of, which is like putting the toilet seat up or down. Dude, fucking hit.
I love that
shit was so funny.
Who was it? Was it Chrissy Teigen or some?
Oh yeah,
like something.
That's fucking awesome.
Because that's how I saw it.
Yeah. Chrissy Teigen retweeted it. It was like she said something, and she made it about herself as always. She's like, She said something to the effect of, I ripped my pussy wide open to have your children. The least you can do is like put the toilet seat down. Something paraphrasing it there. I was like, all right. I mean, I guess, sure, fair point. But the fun part of it was like the amount of arguments that came out of it, when the entire point of it was like, this is so stupid. How could you possibly argue about this? Like, of course I put the toilet seat down when I remember, and I forget probably 43% of the time, like a typical dude, and that's just like how life is. But like the idea that I'm not going to do it just because I'm trying to like, that's hilarious.
They're trying to push the envelope against her. Your wife is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's very it's very emblematic of just the culture war shit, where like every single little thing is turned into this like massive fight
every
for some reason.
fucking thing.
Right.
I can't believe it.
Everything one person believes in,
it.
10 people don't believe in, and they have to fight about it. in the grand stage that is Twitter, where no one ever wins. It's just constant arguments.
Yeah, it's a tornado of just like disagreeing about this most innocuous shit. I mean, and then just the most honest to God worst takes you've ever seen. Like people like everyone, people that shitting on Mr. Beast for helping blind people, and it's like
madness.
Yeah, dude,
I really couldn't believe that when I saw that, because it's like, look, I'm not like a Mr. Beast fan or anything. Like I don't really know him that well. I don't really. It's not content for me, right? But when you cure people's blindness, I don't know, man. Maybe let that happen.
I like to think of it like this. Like there is, when you watch that video, right, there is a hint of like kind of like dystopian weirdness where it's like, all right, we have these unbelievably underprivileged people that are like in this super fast paced, like, I fucking cured 1,000 people's blindness, drone shot, B-roll, fucking, and they're all like, oh, I'm fucking crying, oh my God, I can see right now coming up. It's like 8 minutes of like this insane fucking like, just this crazy video where it's like, hey, these people like are underprivileged, they can't afford the surgery, it's so easy to cure, here you go. But I like think about the net outcome of that, right? So as dystopian, as weird as it is that we live in a fucked up society where there's people who don't have access to this easy thing to cure their, like, to have life-changing surgery because our, whatever, the Medicaid system, the medical industry and all this shit for profit, whatever you want to argue, the net outcome is 1,000 people got help. So fucking great. And we all know that the dude's like this. He's been doing this forever. Like his entire content model on his main channel is like, I give away the farm because that creates the virality, and it's kind of this cyclical, self-serving style of content that he's perfected. And that was happening before he came along, but he came along and was like, all right, now we're going to do $10,000. And then he got bigger. He's like, all right, now we're going to do 100,000. And now he's like giving away $1 million an episode. And it's like, well, you can't compete. But net outcome, people are getting a bunch of shit for free and getting help. So whatever. There's a lot of things you can shit on. Why would you choose that?
Yeah.
It's just because people are mad. It's because it's the nature. Like, people are just mad at the nature of someone trying to seem like people are seeing holier than thou instead of just seeing like help.
It's the symbol of Mr. Beast, though. It's just because if it was like just nobody goes out of their way to shit on particularly like an entire entity, like an organization, to be like, oh, these people are. So since it's just centered around Jimmy, right? That it somehow becomes an issue that it's like focused on one person, and not like a team. Like if Mr. Beast was, because obviously it is a team of people. Obviously, clearly, he needs people to do everything. But it's like, Ozzy Osbourne having an entire band, but it's called Ozzy Osbourne, so he gets all the shine. So he's going to get all the good and the bad.
If it was like the Red Cross who went and cured like 1,000 people's blindness, like you wouldn't see as many. But I also just feel like it's not even necessarily like I understand the dystopian aspect of it, and I understand feeling weird about it. I understand watching that video and honestly coming away from it kind of infuriated. But not at like Mr. Beast, not at Mr. Beast.
No,
he's not the problem.
That's what confuses me.
That's the problem. People are just like, oh, I see Mr. Beast. This is weird. Mr. Beast is doing something. Obviously, he's popular. Hate comes with people. Everyone that's famous has hate.
Well, they gotta find some reason. There's a lot of people that instead of celebrating people's success, they have to kind of try to take down a peg. And some people, rightfully so. I understand. Like there's like certain oligarchs or certain billionaires, whatever, that that to get to that level, they had to do some nefarious fuck shit.
Oh, of course.
But Mr. Beast is just doing something that I feel like, bro, it's a net positive. People are being helped. Why are you shitting on him? Sure, there's people that are shitting on our medical system. Of course, that's fine. Or the production of the video, like you said. I watched it. I saw people in the comments saying they were crying. I felt weird about the video. I felt like that's dope that these people are fucking, they can see now. But also, there was like this kid, never drove in his life. They roll up in a Tesla. Here you go, kid. I'm like, that motherfucker does not need a Tesla.
Yeah, a little extra. Yeah.
It's a little weird, but at the same time, net shit.
That's the YouTube cringe about it. Like, so it's like, that's why I'm like, oh, it's net negative. Like, I still watch certain stuff like that and I cringe. Like, I've always had a bit of an issue with like contrived charity, like for views, which is like we've seen that in all different forms, from like early YouTube where it's like free, buying 100 cheeseburgers for homeless people, like the old Fousey Tube shit, and then you saw like a re-explosion of it on TikTok when there was accounts like it was a bunch of dudes that were running corner stores, and they had like local homeless guys that they would just like pay a few bucks to be in videos and pretend like they're giving them fucking free shit all the time, and they'd get like 60 billion views on TikTok. Very like manipulative, kind of, you can tell it's contrived. It's like it's scripted, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like Mr. Beast has kind of avoided that throughout his life. Like he's very charitable, but he does it in a way that's at least pretty forthcoming, and he's never, there's plenty of elements of his videos that are manufactured to be a certain way. Obviously, there's multiple takes of things like that, but I feel like the actual, charitable piece or the part of him giving something away has always been pretty straightforward. Like, it's like, if you say you're going to give $500,000 away, he does. He holds a competition. He spends a lot of fucking money on his channel. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time to be alive when it comes to, just a 22-year-old fucking nerd kid that grew up in North Carolina is now like trying to cure the world's problems on YouTube. 22? He's probably 23 or 24 now. I mean, he turned. Yeah, he was
nuts.
When I did the first challenge with him in 2018, he wasn't like 21 yet. He was like 20 or something. So he's like 24, 25.
Wow. I really thought he was
I thought he was older.
age.
I would have assumed he was older.
I knew he was younger than us.
See, now I'm upset. Now that's
what upsets me.
I mean, I like fake Mr. Beast. That shit brings me happiness.
Oh, fake Mr. Beast is awesome. Like that.
Oh my god.
That shit brings me joy and happiness.
I mean, dude, it's not even just a weird time to be alive for that. Like, I just feel like everything is just bizarre right now. We were talking a little bit before the show started. It's like initially we just kind of wanted it to be like, you know, a little chill, a little catch up, but also it's just
no
what
chill
a
this
week.
week.
Like there's UFOs being shot down, which apparently you can just write that in like a proper news headline, not the National Enquirer, and it makes and it's perfectly fine to say that.
Legit.
Like
yeah, you could throw a dart with your eyes closed and hit a perfect story for a conspiracy anywhere you look this week.
Yeah, insane.
UFOs, fucking chemical derailment, trains derailing with toxic chemicals, fucking
extremely fucking dangerous earthquakes.
Jesus Christ!
Wildly destructive ones.
Oh my god, dude!
I keep trying to avoid that shit, man.
You know, I saw
awful.
one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. It was like this. It was like a whole like graph, like a conspiracy graph about like how like at the time of the Grammys, at the time of like that satanic whatever the fuck.
Sam
Oh, that's when the earthquake happened.
Earthquake hit, and it's like, oh, what a coincidence!
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, well, you
it.
see right here in Revelations 12, verse 36, for God sent down Sam Smith to sing Unholy in a fucking chuffed devil costume, and the world shook.
Dude,
Yeah.
It's maddening.
Some asshole would actually say that at church, and it would be 100% corroborated. Like, yeah.
It would be like, yes, I agree.
That motherfucker told me, and it's in the it's in there. It's in there.
It's just so crazy to me that we like. I don't know, man. Like, how did we go from being like afraid of like? I understand the families of like the 70s and 80s, like the stiff kind of parental figure who's like, Ozzy Osbourne's biting a head off a bat on stage. What the fuck? Like, I get being kind of creeped out and almost like scared by that on some level. If you're that kind of like, if you grew up in the 50s, like howdy doody fucking marionette ass time.
Yeah, but Elvis can't shake his hips on television yet.
Yeah,
or else he'll die, or else he'll fucking pass. So
those were the days. Real Christian conservatism.
But dude, imagine being afraid of Sam Smith.
Yeah,
I mean that is
wild.
He is the boogeyman as of now. Because I mean, if you've been paying attention, like politics gets so fucking boring. But to spice it up, you find something. This is perfect right now. Yeah. The androgynous men, the trans issues, whatever it is, and it's just perfect storm. Oh, he's with the trans woman too. It's like the perfect storm.
It's the
devil
tech, man.
shit.
It's the perfect tech,
It
bro.
is literally the perfect scapegoat to keep these motherfuckers in line and scared. And it's so funny from someone that doesn't give a shit on the outside looking in. It's so fucking funny. Like that guy, you responded to some guy, Chris, on Twitter. I think you said something like, did you say, like, I think you said, like, Satan isn't real, or I don't remember what the fuck you said.
Oh, no.
But,
I can't remember what I said specifically. It was, I think I was just like, are we really doing the satanic panic again?
Right. Yeah, right.
It's
so been happening every decade for the last 100 years.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like
in a new form.
Once every decade, there's like something that like sparks it up again, and it's just this time it was just so lame. It's just some kind of out of shape guy in a leotard, and it's just like, this is so not. I don't know, man. This is not even close to.
Dude,
Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
When they did Satanic Panic over Dungeons and Dragons in the 70s, that's when you realize. That's when you have to realize that anything could get this group upset. Like the slightest breeze in the wind. And someone that's a little not binary to what they believe in shows up, they're on fire. They gotta set something up.
My favorite thing about that day, when I was talking about the Satan stuff, is because I pissed off a lot of right wing conservatives, but like a couple of hours earlier, I had pissed off a lot of like people for playing the Hogwarts game.
Yes,
because it's my job to play and cover that shit. For the show.
All you have to do is live one day as a moderately decent, normal human being, and you end up pissing off both sides of the spectrum pretty frequently.
It's pretty fucking wild.
Yeah.
But you were going to say something before I cut you off.
I was just going to say that the whole devil freak out. I remember that with the Lil Nas X, not just about a few years ago.
Right.
Oh yeah,
He did that music video, and then this one with. I mean, the devil theme. I don't know. Not to harp on this, but like it is. Like I can see. It's impossible for me to not look and laugh too, because I'm pretty agnostic. Like all of this stuff to me is just symbology and fun and like cool, like Angels and Demons, Dan Brown book type shit. Like it's fun history behind it. But if you're like hook, line, and sinker, like you're dead ass devastatingly scared that you might go to hell if you fuck up, like I can see why you might panic over some shit like that. Like, oh, Satan's taking over Hollywood. It's like, no, it's like a fat androgynous dude wearing a Satan costume, bro. Relax. It's like fucking, it's like Halloween at the Grammys. Like, what are we fucking?
Dude, it was like
what are we worried about right now?
It really was like a party city costume. Like,
literally, it was a terrible costume. It was a terrible that didn't fit well. And it was just like, what am I looking at? Like, I don't want to make fun of this because, you know, I'm not the most in shape guy. But, like, why are people scared? Like, just
I mean, they
stop
just
caring.
I hate that, like, there's people, like, everybody knows Kenneth Copeland. That,
he's my favorite.
You look at that motherfucker. Look at him.
That's
is
the real
like,
devil right there.
Yes, I'm like, and there is. I would, if I were a Christian person, I would be like, holy shit, there he is. Because he looks so evil.
If he was just a little redder, if he was just a little redder,
I feel there he is.
I feel that way about Joel Osteen. I don't know if you guys know who Joel Osteen is.
No, Joel Osteen is a changeling.
He's the goat, man.
He's a changeling. He's not human. He's something else. He's not the devil, but he's definitely not a person. Like, if you cut him, he won't bleed red. It'll be like silver or some shit.
Yeah, he's like straight out of Men in Black, dude. He's got a little alien controlling him inside himself. He's like the king of like prosperity grift.
Yeah,
it really is crazy. I remember him specifically because like my parents used to watch him. Like we used to watch him every Sunday. And then, like, at a certain point, my mom was like, I don't care about this. And then I was like, oh, thank God I have my Sundays back.
Finally, I'll say hallelujah, Mom.
Yeah. The one time, that's probably the first and last time that I've ever said hallelujah unironically. But, like, he had that smile that was, like, really off-putting. And the second that I didn't have to do that anymore, I remember I saw him live.
No fucking way. That's awesome.
Why?
Dude, that's up there with amazing.
That's amazing.
Why?
Dude, I put that up there with like seeing Zeppelin and the Beatles, dude. It's like Zeppelin, Beatles, and then Joel Osteen right below that. You saw that shit at MSG, bro. You're a legend.
Why?
I love that. That's Mecca. That is Mecca for entertainment.
Bro, I am, dude. I was a Christian till way later in my life than most people, and there is no way in hell anyone in my family would have been able to drag me to freaking see Joel Osteen and MSG.
Well, I mean, I was like 11, so I mean,
even at 11, I would have probably put up a fight. I've been like, "Yo, guys,"
I would have straight up said, because I remember going to church when I was a kid, and I remember some of the shit that I was taught, like about rich people clearly not being invited into heaven, and I'm just like, how is this gentleman right here? Like, I would try to rationalize it, and then it's basically the answer was kind of just shut up. That was always the answer was stop
the beauty of that statement is there. Yeah. So that is kind of like all like how every different kind of like competing theology under the Christianity umbrella and Catholicism kind of hashes it out is they all have their own interpretation of the scripture, right? It all goes back to this book, but it's like, here's this verse that says clearly, like, you know, what I don't know verbatim, but like the rich man won't get into heaven, the poor man who serves God, blah, blah, blah. But then you can find, you know, verses if you want to cherry pick that are like that these prosperity preachers, I'm sure, have all memorized. It's like make it sound okay. So it's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
totally agree.
I grew up.
What about the Old Testament where they used to kill all the gay people too? Like, what about the stuff where they used to kill anyone? Like, it's weird, man. Christianity. The weird thing that a fucking weird thing that Andrew Tate said randomly. I saw in a video that, and I don't agree with much that he says, but he was like, Christianity is a joke because like they changed the ethos of their religion to try to stay mainstream and kind of fit the narrative a little bit. But then there's the Puritans and the conservatives who don't. Like, it's just a whole fucking mess. That's why the whole thing is such a turnoff to me, because nobody knows what's right, what's wrong. It's like everyone's making their own interpretation of this book, what's sacred, what isn't. Like,
based
it's as if it was written by a bunch of men a long
time.
time.
I fuck with radical Islam, bro.
Yeah, Sneeko, Tate Jr.
Exactly, bro. I'm on that radical shit, bro.
That's why he became a Muslim, because it's like it's fucking they haven't changed in 6,000 years. They still kill gays and hate women, so it's
exactly, bro. Simple pleasures.
Did you know, Leon?
What?
Did you know, Leon, that are you familiar with Metal Slug?
The game for Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
I love that fucking game, yeah.
So,
Classic.
little interesting factoid about Metal Slug and SNK, the parent company of that.
Sure.
Yes.
That owns that IP. They also own King of Fighters and like a number of other like
Fucking
kind of
Samurai Showdown, bunch of
nostalgically.
shit.
Yeah. They own a lot of old properties. So many years ago, I think 98% of that company was purchased by the Saudi royal family, specifically this guy named Mohammed bin Salman, who is literally personally responsible for executing a journalist. Isn't that interesting?
literally.
Ben Shogi, yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Wait, when was it acquired by them?
It's I think 98% of it is owned by them, as far as I know. But it's basically
Was this
them.
like
It's, you know,
was this after like this was like later on they acquired
this is a
the
couple
name and
years
the
ago.
franchise?
This
Oh,
is
okay.
like- this is within the last like 6 years or something.
What is the purpose of that? You wonder.
I think they're just trying to diversify. You know,
Diversify money.
they're trying to diversify their stream of income as like a government, and so it's the same reason why Tencent is kind of like investing in a lot of American companies. It's because they're the Chinese government's just trying to find other streams of revenue to kind of keep money flowing. And
American gaming's a decent one, I suppose.
dude, American
It
gaming
is.
is fucking crazy. Like that I really can't believe how much money is in that. It's the average salary I think is like 80 to 90,000 or something. It's pretty fucking crazy.
It's pretty nuts,
Yeah.
man.
I imagine it's going to keep growing too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, gaming, the, internet culture, it's like it's only going to be more indoctrinating for young kids. It's like even at my age, like I grew up with video games. We all did. Like early Nintendo started on, but it wasn't like as insanely hyper addictive, fucking like ripping dopamine out of your brain and shoving it into your throat like 24/7. So it's like I struggle with just play. Dude, I'm like into Destiny 2 right now. I play League of Legends. Like that shit fucks my world up because I love it so much. I don't know how to like stop. So I'm trying to figure out like how to balance it. Because when you're growing up, like you play a game, you're playing Mario 3, it's fun. You beat it, or you're playing Battletoads, and it's fun for 20 minutes, but it's so fucking impossible. Like every Nintendo game was, you put it down, you go outside, whatever. Now these fucking games are built to never have an end. You can't beat them. You're constantly grinding. You're progressing through the ranks.
It's
you need
weird,
more
man.
fucking legendary gear. You need more purple shit. Like they're
Don't
all
even
designed
talk about
to keep
Destiny,
you.
bro.
Oh
Don't
man,
even talk about Destiny.
Yeah.
dude.
Sweeney and I have been on the Destiny train for a very, very long time.
have you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm missing
They got
3
you, man.
exotics in that
They got
game.
you.
Period. I'm missing 3 exotics in that game. I've given up so much of my time to Destiny that if somehow my file went missing, like if I couldn't access my file anymore, people would have to check on me.
Yeah. Feel like losing a family member.
They'd be like, "Hey, Kingston, where
My
are
Destiny.
you?"
Yeah.
I feel like
I,
Lily needs to actually really pay attention to this part right here.
Don't.
I bet Destiny's been getting a lot more attention than she has.
Not as of right now. Definitely when Witch Queen came out, hell fucking yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally put on do not disturb. Be like, honey, I didn't know you were calling me. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Bro, you got Lightfall in 2 weeks. Tough timing with
dog,
trying to
man.
furnish that house.
she finna decide how everything. I'm gonna walk in there and be like, I didn't even know this was it. I didn't know we were going.
Yeah, it's oh man, a lot of those. It's crazy too because they've kind of become like I love Destiny. Like I'm a big fan. I've played that game since like day one, like in 2014. And I've always been like fascinated by it. But like it is this kind of second job almost, and it becomes very difficult to justify at a certain point. Like I still love it. I still play it. The only way that I could continue playing it sincerely was I had to tell myself, it's like, okay, I'm not playing specifically to seek anything. I'm not playing to like I'm not logging in every single day to do my like dailies or whatever.
Your bounties,
I'm just gonna,
your
like,
weeklies.
yeah, no, I
For
just had
me,
to.
it was-
I just had to be like, all right, you know what? I feel like playing this game today, and so I'll play it until I don't feel like I'm having fun anymore.
Yeah, I don't
that
know
was
what
the only
that
way that I could do
relationship's
it.
like with video games.
That's crazy. For me, it's the RPG. Like, I turned it on, right? And it's like, there's these stats and these builds and these armors, right? And I'm like, I care about my drip. I got to really look sick before I go into a fight. But then, what about this build, this loadout with this? Oh, this works with this, which works with this. And it's just like, it's everything I want in a game because shooting games are easy enough for you to constantly sit down and pick up real quick and play.
Sure.
But now add an RPG to that where you can customize how you play the shooting game, and it's just addictive as it's bad. It's very
it's very well designed, and the thing to me, it's like I don't want to harp on Destiny too much. I actually want to segue into something that I'm kind of curious about your perspective on, Leon, because you have a kid, right?
I do, yeah.
And how old is? I mean, you don't have to divulge that information. If
no, he's about 4.5.
So, when I was a kid, I remember people specifically, like some older people in my family, like other people got it. It wasn't like I didn't live in like fucking rural fucking, I don't know, Mississippi where people thought, video games were going to kill me. But there was this kind of concern that, video games are so addictive or whatever, right? And
sure.
It's like, and I think they are more now, especially in the live service era.
Mm-hmm.
But something that really freaks me out, because I'm kind of getting to that age, like I'm hitting 30 this year.
Getting boomer status soon.
And so I'm starting to think about like, oh man, like what's family mean? And like and then I'm thinking about like the landscape specifically of social media and TikTok and those kinds of things that are as addicting and even more so, like way, way, way more addicting, in my opinion, than video games have ever been and still are.
Right, and on a weird social token level as well, where it's now how peers view each other.
It fucking freaks me out. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it's fucking bizarre, like how TikTok can just like get its, like TikTok will just rip its hands into you, and then you've lost like 4 hours.
You've lost your child. They show up on Libs of TikTok on Twitter 3 weeks later.
Dude, it's fucking, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I feel like I'm too old for this. Every time I open up TikTok, it's hard for me not to close it immediately. Like, I have to force myself to be on it.
That's insane.
For
me, it's weird.
I feel like, so like I'm gonna be 35. I feel like this entertainment portion of, I like funny memes. When I see people dancing or trying to go out of their way to be funny or lip sync shit, like immediately my brain is like, I don't want to see a second more of this, so it's hard for me to even try to find the stuff that I do like, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so like TikTok has no effect on me.
I will say I remember trying TikTok, like when I started TikTok, it was like, oh, okay, well, this is it, because it's still trying to feel you out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to go on. But like if you spend enough time on there just trying to find stuff, it'll just supply you exactly with the
for
stuff.
Sure.
It won't and it won't stop is the thing. It's for me, for some reason, I don't know why this is what's happening to me, but like my TikTok is all ADHD shit. It
only takes one, man. It only takes
one. It takes one or two likes, man, for it to be like, oh, this is him.
Or if you watch the entire thing, it's like, oh, give it to him.
If you say to the end of like a 2.5 minute TikTok now, it's over. Like your whole FYP is just
it's gone.
All that thing.
It's all horrifying Reddit stories over Subway Surfer fucking gameplay, or it's like, hey, here's Down syndrome girl from Family Guy over people cutting kinetic sand into random shapes, and it's like, what is going? But the thing is, like, I stay on the clip not because I like the kinetic sand or all this like extra ADHD shit. It's just like, oh, I like this clip, and I don't know where I'm gonna find it again, so I might as well watch it now. And so like TikTok just thinks I'm sick. And then the next one, and then it's over, and the next one starts before you even have time to process it. It's amazing. It's amazing why nobody can focus on anything any longer. You wonder why, right? And then you look at our behaviors and it becomes very obvious. I think of it a few different ways for me. Like, even with having kids too, like, there's two things can kind of be true at the same time for me. The first thing that is true is that social media, you can either leverage it or it can leverage you. Okay.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's very difficult to leverage it without letting it also leverage you at the same time, meaning that like it's hard to use it in a way that is productive in your life or a way that can be financially beneficial without also falling into the traps and the tropes of like just constantly scrolling, frying your dopamine, not being able to feel joy or happiness, cycles of depression, all these things. These are very common things for people that abuse social media. But the other side that is also so in that, I would say like you really have to be vigilant about how you regulate your time using it. And as a parent with kids, like how do you even explain that, because I grew up in a time where I didn't have it. I've seen how it's affected me as an adult and the ways it's, benefited my life and all the ways that it has taken away from my life. But kids that are growing up with it don't have that perspective. So how do you instill that perspective in somebody that, in a way that's not like accusatory, et cetera, where it's like, because the flip side of that is like, I don't think like we're past the point of being able to completely starve your children of modern day technology, including social media, unless you are, Amish or very hyper conservative and your child lives entirely in a bubble, which I think is unhealthy for a whole different
that genie is way out of the bottle at this point.
Way out of the bottle. So that's like, so both of these things are true where it's like, it's incredibly scary and can be very unhealthy. And I think that the way we scroll our feeds with social media, video games, pornography, all these things are just kind of like firing off dopamine. They're easy ways to feel good. And when you're doing that constantly without any breaks, it completely zaps any sort of motivation or drive you have to do things that are beneficial for you that take even a modicum of effort. And I know all of us here feel that. I know everyone watching probably feels that. So there's like this level that you need to be very hyper aware of it. But at the same time, I don't think you can stop your kids from using it. But for me personally, I'm going to try and be very present. Like, I don't know. But it does worry me, man, because I see, I don't know. I see some kids that really go down these rabbit holes, and I'm not going to try and stop my son from exploring like what he loves and who he is, but I want to make sure I'm there to provide him opportunities to learn how to appreciate life outside of the virtual world we've kind of created.
That's very
100%.
true. That's the best way to think about it, because it's a different world. We don't have the ability to understand the way, like you gotta sign up for everything to do everything now, like even going to school, you put in assignments online, like once upon a time when we were growing up, you're like the whole cyberbullying era, right? We were like, just turn off the computer, I had that perspective for a while. Now it's not that simple anymore.
Well, I would say that perspective was valid for a hot minute. Then.
Oh no, it was for a bit.
It's
absolutely not anymore.
No,
like 100%. You can't just turn off your computer because you got to be back on it or comment. You got to get on back there to work on projects with people. I noticed when I was back in college.
Modern day society, you need to be connected unless you are just like somehow independently wealthy and want to live on a farm that's self-sustaining. That's fine, but outside of that,
you got to be there.
You kind of have to be involved in some level
to be informed, to be like because there's everything is a degree of misinformation, right? But it's up to you to be able to inform yourself and to be informed in general. Now you have to be plugged into the internet to a certain degree to be able to get like every form of story to get your own perspective of things, which is also infuriating as well because you have to be there to get that.
Yeah.
The
frustrating thing from a content creation standpoint is that like when you're, I mean, Leon, I know you do this too, where like we are in this kind of sphere where we make content about content or things that are happening.
Yes.
So in order to, it's that leveraging kind of conversation again, where it's like, okay, I have to be on this in order to mine what I need to make my living.
Yes.
But also it's so, I don't know, man, like I have a big Twitter problem, I think. Because
I do
like if I scroll through Twitter, I see something immediately, I think like, oh, I have a perfect response to this. And I just do it, and it's quick and it's easy and it's like an immediate hit. It's like a bunch of likes immediately, a bunch of replies, even people arguing, it's like fucking awesome. Yes, I'm stoking like fire.
Goblin of a person, just like
dude,
perfect.
It's fun, and like the thing to me is like a couple years ago, if I had something to say on about something, I would look it up,
right?
I would put it in a video.
Yep.
It's almost like Twitter is like a shortcut to not making something. And it's like, and I've noticed this. I've noticed this over those like, man, I haven't really made much because everything that I would have made is just written now on Twitter for free. It doesn't help me at all. I guess it helps my social media presence, which I guess is kind of somewhat important, but like not really. Twitter is kind of useless actually for that.
Yeah, agree. These days.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man. It's fucking. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
not tweet as much.
Dude, there is part of it that boils down for like it. What's the quickest path from point A to point B? And when you've been doing it and you're in it for so long, it's like the quickest path from like, hey, I feel like I could use a little hit of engagement right now. It's a lot of work to sit down and research and record and do this video that will make my living. I'm just going to appease that kind of need I've built up in myself by just quote tweeting and dunking on this absolute fucking blazing moron on Twitter right now, which there is no shortage of by any means.
It never stops.
It's easy, bro. It's a fucking, it's like just throwing a dart into the sky. It's like, I'll get something.
You're going to hit something. Yeah.
I mean, that used to be my bread and butter, where I was just, all I was only doing, I mean, I kind of stopped it now because I just really don't give a shit anymore, but it was like Twitter trash. All I do is just collect tweets and then just make fun of them. It was the easiest thing to do, and I got to a point where, and particularly because of wanting to be on social media less, and then naturally getting to the point where I actually really don't care anymore. And one way I've always been able to do that, though, is not caring, because I noticed that the default in most social medias is the algorithmic feed that shows you stuff that you're most likely are interested in, things that blew up, viral shit. So it puts all that stuff up to the top, where
it's reactionary stuff.
Yeah. And usually I'm the person that I just want to see what's going on in the moment. So I just want a chronological feed.
Sure.
And so I'm glad that, say, for example, Instagram has put that back on. You have the option
Twitter too,
to see what's happening just in the time. That's how I view Twitter. I stopped viewing Facebook because they took that away for like quite some time, because all I want to do is just go on real quick, see what's happening, and then fuck off. The thing is, I noticed what people are normally doing, they're spending so much time on, it's making sure that they see everything, things that they would have missed like 3 fucking days ago. Like they would have missed, like,
that's called the bottomless scroll, right? So they did that on purpose, and why they went away from chronological feeds is because the only goal of these companies is to keep you on their platform as long as possible, and they found that people were scrolling down, and as it got a little bit older, they'd leave. So now, every single time you swipe down at the top, if there's no new tweets, they'll find a viral one to share with you. So we're in this kind of like hyperloop of constantly refreshing, even when there's nothing new, but we're just going to get served something that they know will get a rise out of us. And
have you noticed on Instagram that this is one reason why I used to use Instagram. It used to be my only platform that I really enjoyed using, but I started using it less because of what they tactically. I don't know if you guys notice this. You'll open up Instagram, and then it'll show a post that you would probably most likely be interested in, and then it'll drop all the way down. It'll drop all the way down because they want you to scroll to find it.
Yeah.
They want you to scroll.
That's fucked up.
I refuse. I use it less because they do that to me. Because a lot of times, it's mostly, I follow like a lot of mixed martial artists, and so it's like something that I actually do want to read, and then it knows, and then it's like, and then I'm like, fuck you. I just go right out. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not playing your fucking game, dude. I'm not playing your game. So basically the whole thing is not letting the algorithm control you. And it's kind of like teaching your kids that if that is possible, to be like, hey, just if you realize what they're doing, I feel like it has less of an effect on you to work. I don't like being treated like a fucking product or treated like a fool, which I am.
We all are. Yeah,
right?
everybody is.
I don't like it, so I try to contribute less to it, and it's been helpful. I actually feel pretty good like a lot of times if I miss something that went really viral, I'm like, I missed it, whatever, who gives a fuck.
I never had that problem. I'm a late internet person. Like, I've been using it most of my life, obviously, everybody watching funny videos, but I didn't really start developing an internet personality until maybe 2016, 2017. So for a period of time, particularly on Instagram and Twitter, I had a pretty I was on it more than I would like to have been on it. And I definitely had that moment where I was like, I can't stand this place. I really don't even want to be on here. And then I just completely rebalanced the way my brain works and thinks about it. And now I'm at a pretty healthy spot where I don't really use Twitter all that much. I don't tweet very much either. I say some fuck shit and I kind of jump back.
Sounds way too healthy for me.
That is such an. I don't believe you. First off, I'm gonna say that.
I don't. What all bullshit? I don't use it that much. Like when I wake up.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is, you said oh yeah, back then I had a healthy feed or whatever. It's you used to send me people.
No. I never say anything about my feed being healthy. My feed is the opposite of things that normal people watch. I be watching. I used to watch videos that for real have people just be like, yo, dude, don't send me stuff like that. Like, I don't want to see
chill,
that kind
bro.
of shit, dude.
Dude,
Because
Sweeney somehow found every live leak account on Instagram that hadn't been purged or something,
Bro,
and you would just send it to me.
Sweaty.
It would ruin, like, I still, was it you? I can't even remember because I was like waking up. I was like slowly arising out of consciousness. This is when we were living together, and like I woke up and the first thing. My first experience of that day was you coming into my room and you were like, "Look at this," and it's just some guy like face planting off a building under the ground. I'm like, "Why would you?"
And he turned into a dolphin, not literally, but pretty much.
It just ruined. I don't know, man. When I was a kid, I stumbled onto that stuff and I was like immediately like, I don't like this.
I've always been anti. Yeah,
that shit was not my bag, dude. My brother tried to bring me
for
the
me.
Faces
That was
of
some of
Death
the first
VHSs.
internet I really got. It was like BME Pain Olympics, Happy Tree Friends, fucking Ebon's World, and that was the first hint of it. But it even started before that. It was like America's Funniest Home Videos where people would get hurt and I would laugh a little too long. Mm-hmm. And like my grandmother would be like, that's strange. You're still laughing at that. And then it just became like a slippery slope of like, now I kind of have to chill a little bit. It's not quite as wild.
Sweeney,
that's when I killed my first cat. Yeah.
I don't harm anything. I'm like,
okay.
But I could definitely laugh at someone being hurt way longer than most people.
Sweeney's going to fall asleep face down and suffocate himself accidentally. And then people are going to walk into his room and find like a bunch of like skinned butterflies or something. Some like really fucking nonsensical, scary shit.
A bunch of like
surgery on a butterfly. Yeah.
A bunch of like swords wrapped in people's skin. And it's just like, what did you do?
Human leather coats.
Right.
I had to get a bunch of people because I'm a big dude, you know?
No, man. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, because I remember... Because the internet really wasn't a big part of my life really until, I would say, high school probably. Like high school is when it like really because we're obviously Sweeney and I are basically 30, 29. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Derek's obviously 35. Obviously Leon's like a little bit older. Yeah. But like, I don't know. Like we because Facebook kicked off when we were in high school. I know that.
Yeah.
And that was like a big shift. And I remember thinking about that at the time, thinking about how like we had gone like in 2007 when I started high school and 2011 when we ended. In 2007, I knew maybe like a handful of kids that had a cell phone.
Yep.
Like some people just didn't have them, and like even if the people who some people did have them, and all they could do was call. They like their parents didn't pay for the texting. So like you went from 2007 where people had flip phones if they had them at all. And then by the end of high school, everybody had like some kind like a Droid or like a pocket computer. Mm-hmm. And I remember even at the time thinking like, "What? This is an insane time to be in high school."
Yeah, dude. And think about that's a decade, bro. Like from where you just started, where like we didn't even have texts, and like you could, basically we were graduating from beepers, and like few kids had phones to make calls on. 10 years, dude, which is like a fucking sneeze on like the timeline of humanity. And we already had like Trump election, Twitter, like ban, like so much happened in that decade.
It's crazy, honestly.
And now it's been, another 4 or 5 years, and it feels like I don't know, like it's weird. Like it sometimes feels hard to be optimistic about it, right? Because I think humans, for some reason, have a natural inclination. I don't know what it is about humans just to think worst case scenario and to ruminate on worst case scenario at all times. And that manifests itself in our online behavior.
So for sure.
It's like a deep disdain for change, because change implies, either some lack of comfort in kind of acclimating to that new change. And I think it's always been that way, but like I think severely, like in the last like obviously like 20 years, things have changed at an unprecedented rate to the point where like more people than ever are like feeling unsafe and scared.
Well, the thing is,
in a way that they didn't before. I think
it's that true, but there's also the fact that we get to see it. Because I feel like for a long time, there's always been people that are like anti-change. There's always been bigots, idiots, sexists, homophobes. It exists, but they're like, now we can see it. It's on the town square now.
I'm not saying necessarily that that's it's more about like our relationships with each other, our relationships with technology, our relationships with media, and everything around it has fundamentally shifted very, very quickly in a way that it really didn't. In a way that it really didn't before. Like if you look at somebody from like even just comparing like I don't know like the 1880s to like 1901. probably a lot of change, right? But I doubt it's even close.
Not as radical.
To like it's not as different as 2005 was to 2015. You know what I mean?
I think it's technology has made change parabolic, and I think that like we are not equipped to handle it very well. The way I think of it in the last like 20 years, right, is I think of like a 50-gallon Poland Spring water drum, one of those like office water cooler ones, filled with water, and that kind of represents all of the terrible shit happening to humanity at all times, right? Before, we would fucking take a little bit, like a little ounce at a time. Our local newspaper, something bad happened. Oh no, you know what I'm saying? A little boop boop, that time. Now we just cut the motherfucking top off and pour that shit over our head. And that's how much dog shit, horrible stuff we're digesting daily.
Every day. Yeah, it's horrible.
We're not empathetically equipped to deal with that. So you have to choose your battles, A. And B, it's very easy to get desensitized to terrible things. Which I don't know what that, what that means necessarily, but it's for me, it's meant like, I don't empathize or sympathize or like spend time being sad and sorry, all these things for shit that doesn't affect me because I need to save that for the people in my life that matter to me.
It's a terrible feeling because for personally, like there are times where like I've defensively become more empathetic because become more apathetic because being empathetic legitimately kills you.
Drains you, yeah. If you're terminally online, you do become apathetic. There's no way not to.
Like during COVID, there'd just be times where I would just get really sad because of everything that's happening. The world was fucking dying, And that shit is fucking sad. It wouldn't be about people directing me directly, just like the world. And it's like, dang, this is rough. And it's like
that was a fucking crazy time too. I really don't think we've processed exactly like what that whole like that pandemic era.
No.
I don't think we've fully processed like how that's going to affect things later on because like I think even
the children from that pandemic era are different kids, man. That is something that I've noticed, and like people are like, not really, dude. I have 3 family members born that period of time, and they have absolutely zero social skills.
Well, they're
like even as babies, like they're babies.
They're 3.5, Tom.
Obviously,
these kids can't even hold a job.
But they can't come in. They don't know anything about their 401k. They can't diversify their funds.
Nigga, give them 10 years at least.
No, but
man.
no, even the idea of that, like, because most kids, like, they go to the park with their parents. They do something, interact with other children, and just in passing, But because of how COVID restricted everyone to just being your most close circle possible, they have a real difficult time interacting with anyone directly outside of their circle.
How do you know that,
from my observation at least, and I noticed that because of my godson. My godson, he doesn't even talk to other people that's not directly like his mom, his dad, his like aunts and uncles, and then me.
I was gonna say, bro. Yeah.
He might have. You never know. He might. Yeah. He might.
I mean, it could be a coincidence.
It could be a coinky dink. Don't get me wrong.
I was thinking less about. People born. Like I almost feel like the people born in that time have a better shot. To be honest with you,
they have a degree of ignorance.
I think about this like just real quick. My French teacher was 4 years old when she was in an internment camp. And she has nothing but fond memories because she was fucking 4 and her parents did a good job of sheltering her from the misery of everything that was happening. Mm-hmm. So she's just like, oh, yeah, my parents were goated and like they completely protected me. And I feel like if the parents did a good job, they should pretty much be raised because they're only 1, 2, and 3. They're already going to be sheltered anyway.
It's not so much the idea of the world's bearing on them. It's the idea of their interaction with others based on how closed off they were from others.
Nigga, they're babies. They're not. Who are they going to be talking to anyway?
I think that there's still something there. I think there's some development that happens at that level where by just having the presence of other strangers, like builds your level of awareness and things like that. But I think that
my baby.
Aware, older aware kids that are in a hyper socialized phase of life, middle school, high school, college even, losing those years of their life at a pivotal, some of these pivotal moments, like graduation, proms, all these things
graduations
that we all look back on as like life, kind of these like pinnacles in your life, And that was totally overshadowed by like, hey, sit in a dark room at home and just doom scroll 24 hours a day and don't fucking leave for years. Like, that's fucked up, dude. So yeah, I imagine there is an entire wave of, people. And listen, it's not like you get to be 21 and all of a sudden we're all fine. Like, we all got fucked up in our own way too. Like, you can be any age and go through kind of that desocialization where like we have to cope with this idea of now everything has to be digital and virtual and work from home and Zoom meetings and Zoom calls. It's like, wow, it's great. We have all this technology to allow some of these things to continue, but we have completely bastardized, I think, the importance of really pressing the flesh in real life, whether it's not just occupationally, but just with peers, with friends. Like, and this is something I've dealt with since becoming a YouTuber. Prior to that, I had been a musician and I was in the restaurant industry for almost a decade and a half. So by default, I was hyper socialized. I was with people. I was talking, making jokes. And I think of it, I look back and I think, man, I took that part of it for granted because in my head, I was just like, man, I need to get out of this rat race, which I was working towards. And eventually I did. And I'm very grateful for how the internet and YouTube has benefited my life.
Yeah.
But I realized I had to be intentional now about being social and in person with people that I care about and love, whether that's family or close friends. Right. And I had never felt that before in my life because it always just happened by default because of my job. And I think now, since COVID, that happened on a global level, right? Where like, for me, it was like, oh, big sad, like you're a full-time YouTuber and you have to like make plans with friends. But when that happened globally, I think some of the ramifications of that they're kind of like unspoken, I think. But I mean, you look at the level of anxiety and depression and it's like all of these things. And I'm not a fucking doctor. I really don't know shit, but it's like, I think it's no secret why we're kind of at pretty rapidly increasing rates of some of these, what you would call, I don't know, mental health issues, right? That everyone deals with on their own level, but I think they're certainly been exacerbated by this lack of socialization and this idea that we can replace IRL socialization with a screen.
Yeah.
You can get things done, but
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So I agree with that.
Or just
Dr.
the
Lush, great assessment. But seriously, that I agree with that completely.
Just call me Human Labs.
I don't know, man. I just think our brains aren't. It's fucked because like I recently technically, and I think I knew this for a while, but like I recently got like an ADHD diagnosis, and I was always curious about it. Never really did anything about it because I think before this period of time, things were like manageable enough. You know, it's like, all right, well, but I do think a lot of these, I think what's fucked up about it is I'm starting to think about it a little bit more. It's like, it's not that these disorders aren't real. And I think that they are for sure because I feel it and I understand what's happening. But I also think these disorders are present because we are kind of acclimatized to a world that our natural brain doesn't, like, it's not equipped to handle.
Agree.
And so like, I don't know. It's fucking weird. I feel weird about it.
You think they can? I was just going to say again, I'm not.
None of us are doctors.
Go ahead.
Right.
Sure,
none of us are doctors, but to kind of to extrapolate on your point, like, do you think there's a level in the last 10 to 20 years where there's like a certain amount of people that are, environmentally and behaviorally becoming ADHD. It's not like this. It's not like this thing where you're either born with it or you're not. Like,
I think it can be. I think it can.
I think you can be. I think you can be.
Yeah. I think it can come. The thing to me is like I don't even necessarily think it's. Man, how do I explain it? I feel like just the world as it is currently is just really hostile for people with that brain chemistry in a way that in previous decades like if somebody had the same brain chemistry as somebody with ADHD in like the 2020s as they did in like the 1950s,
right?
I feel like that person is more equipped to do well.
Yeah,
because they're not being inundated with things that kind of exacerbate those issues.
Yeah, I agree.
And so,
I agree with that 100%.
And so I think it's less about like these these disorders aren't real or maybe it's exacerbated. I think it's just the nature of what surrounds us that makes what was always there far, far more harmful and far more debilitating than they otherwise would have been. Because if you have a problem focusing, fucking holy shit. Like now is like in this era, it's like the worst possible time. Like I could have dealt with it I was doing relatively fine with it in like 2015, 2016, even when we had Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. But like this whole fucking like the 24-hour news cycle and the fact that like there's a new like, oh, this person did this and they're canceled, and like this look at this person's personal life out on display for everybody, and like look at this fucking heinous natural disaster, and look at this thing, and it's all in the same fucking day, and it's like,
yeah, dude,
what do you
literally doom scrolling? You just start falling down the hill.
And on top of that, I don't think the pandemic helped either, because like even as somebody who was, I wouldn't consider myself like antisocial really. I just, I like to keep to myself, and when I'm in a group of people, like I can pal around and have fun. But my life didn't change that much because of lockdown. I was already spending a ton of time in my room making videos and just like living with my roommates and palling around. And even I felt it,
Same for me, honestly. Yeah. Yep.
So, for what we do, we didn't change all too much, but we still felt it. I think the pandemic
forced a lot of people to sit with themselves in a way that a lot of people were not ready.
That was the one biggest thing right there. A lot of people were looking inward.
You had to be like, oh, this is me right now, and how do I feel? How do I feel being around myself when I'm not busy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell motherfuckers all the time.
It's me. It's me with me right now, and for me, I realized that I'm not that bad. But there are a lot of people that just realize they are. There's a lot of shit they don't like about themselves or that they do.
Even the family dynamic too, man. You're talking about like dudes who spend, you have that dynamic where it's like, oh, you only see your wife for X amount of time per week. Like there was some real big wake up calls, I imagine, where all of a sudden you had to be around each other all the time.
You're like,
working out of the same house. Like I will say, kind of on Chris's point, like I had already been, went full time in 2018, so my lifestyle didn't change as much. So I was already kind of grappling with some of those things. And then when the world got crushed, I just saw it happening all around, and it was like, okay, now we're all kind of dealing with this thing simultaneously. Yeah. But I do ultimately feel like I fared pretty well because I was already prepared a little bit,
already acclimated
based on my occupation, right? Where it's like you're just sitting in an office. I could literally just. My office is above my garage. I fucking come over here. I do some dumb shit. Go back to my house, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up. I work out in my basement. Come to my garage. I could never leave my fucking driveway and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And people had to deal with relationships where it was like they were stretched out. So like I'm here and they're there. Like for the first 4 months, I didn't see my girlfriend
stuff?
once.
Oh my god, yeah.
I didn't see her one time. That shit was debilitating. Not seeing the person to be in love with, man.
That didn't bother me at all. I'm the king of that shit.
That's because you're used to long distance.
Yeah, that's what
my lady lived 10 minutes away from me, and I couldn't see her. And I was like, "This sucks, dude."
It's fucked, man.
You had to kiss her through the phone, dude.
Yeah, I would cry. I miss you.
Why are you not here? The Soulja Boy song.
Let's see.
Just kiss me through the phone.
Started risking it. Like I'm just gonna go. I don't care if I get sick. I need you.
Soulja Boy's dick was all over Twitter a few months ago. Do you see that?
Was it really?
Again?
Yeah. Was it impressive at least?
Again, it was impressively long, but way too curved. It was
like fucking.
It was like
boomerang, bro.
It
was like one part of it. It was like almost like curvy, like a boomerang, but just like 30% of it. It was fucking. I was like, "What are you doing?" It's almost like he was wrapping it around. You know how like the Saiyans wrap their tails around? It was almost like he was doing that shit. Like it was wrapped partially around his waist. Because I'm like, what is happening?
He had like a fucking Ricky Berwick claw in his pants, dude. Like,
oh my god!
It always comes back to Ricky.
Got that Berwick dick, boy. You know how to hit them G spots.
He'd be all up in her the wrong way, bro. All up stewing her shit. God damn.
God Christ.
Mother of God.
You gotta be fucking at a 45-degree angle to fuck her, dude. He's gotta be like all.
You're just thrusting sideways, just pounding it out.
What a
you looking like this?
Just, hey man,
you like that? You like that?
I don't mean this to be offensive in any way, but like,
you don't want to talk about Soulja Boy's dick?
No.
It's not Chris's vibe.
I know. I was saying, like, Ricky Berwick is an interesting physiological creature, and I just feel like,
sure.
Do you think AI, like, if you asked and like one of these deep fake AIs to make him, do you think it would get it right? you know what I mean?
You're asking
They would get his hands
questions
right. They would get his hands
don't
right.
need to be asked right now.
Well,
100%.
think about
you were asking questions that right now, as we are, don't need to be asked quite as much.
It's my job
You
to ask
think
the
begs are
hard-hitting
forced.
questions. It's my job to
We
ask
need
the
to go
hard-hitting
further.
questions.
We're journalists.
Hey,
so you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do.
Dude, that, by the way, that's another aspect of this whole thing. The AI shit, we are not prepared for any of this. Like,
Not at all.
The amount of like,
I think we're at like the 2006-7 Facebook moment of AI right now.
1,000,000%.
compared to social media. Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yo, so we just so some of our listeners, they made a couple of things because Chris asked them to do it in the last episode, and one thing that really surprised me is so it was as if like Sweeney was supposed to be shot, like or shot by a shotgun or whatever, and Sweeney says like, "What are you doing with that shot?" And then he gets shot, and then he says, fun fact, I had the deep fake say that, like the AI. I didn't know that. I thought there was actually some footage of him saying that, and I just assumed.
Wait, somebody got like somebody
deep
made
faked
it.
my voice, and that's
deep
crazy.
faked your voice and saying, "What are you gonna do with that shot?" Bam. And I just thought somebody grabbed up maybe some footage from one of your old videos, Chris, or something.
Yeah,
But it turns out, and I was just like, "Fuck!" It
That was
already
AI?
got me. Yeah, it already.
I thought that
got
was me. I thought that was me.
Dude, it's
fucked up.
decent enough to where I was like, "Oh my god!" It tricked me. I thought it.
When it can fool you into thinking you're hearing people you know,
Your own
Like an
fucking
old
voice?
clip of yourself. Yeah.
that's
That's insane because I thought like listening to most deep fakes that I'm like, it's getting there. It's pretty good, but that
No,
one
the
fucking, I
Joe
was like,
Biden
shit.
ones are crazy, man. I
No,
went like
okay,
there's
yeah, fair enough,
there's a
fair
feed
enough.
of like 30 of them where Joe Biden is just using the N word, talking about killing
every single
people,
one.
Yeah,
selling drugs, and
I
I'm just
saw
like,
that feed.
this is
I
insane.
I listened to one on stream the other week by accident. I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And it was like N-word dead bomb. I was like, "Oh boy, I'll do that in my own time."
well, you didn't
Probably.
say it. It's
I would never laugh at something like that, of course. But
I never laugh
yeah.
while the camera's on. I wouldn't laugh at that.
You have our absolute blessing to. If anybody says anything, like I know these two black gentlemen. That
I
says
know
fine.
I know two black people.
I know two.
You guys are the Snark thing. Yeah, I was on the podcast one time, so that's a pass for me.
that
boys.
word.
That's the
That
best,
word.
man.
It's not a.
Stop dropping the hardest of ours, bro.
just not stop.
It is. It's not a Snark Tank episode. If I don't think there's a single episode that we that word hasn't been used, but I think
Yeah.
but that's what makes us immune to a lot of the shit. But I think, dude, I don't know, man. It creeps me the
It's
fuck out a
sketchy,
little bit.
dude.
It's really funny. Like, there's definitely like shit that I've seen is like where it's like Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, the Joker, and like I don't know other random celebrity number Y playing like Minecraft together, and it's fucking
Right.
hilarious.
Freaking
it's also,
Jordan
like-
Peterson and Joe Rogan talking about Bionicles together. That video is amazing.
There's a video of
There's
Jordan
so much
Peterson.
passion.
There's a video of Jordan
Stupid.
Peterson talking about how Sonic isn't really that great, and I love it. It's so fucking funny, but also like it's getting to that point where it does sound pretty fucking believable. Like the
Yeah.
only thing that's
Did you see
unbelievable.
the
Whoa,
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just the intonation. Like all that needs to be fixed about this is that they speak a little too quickly and they don't have a lot of natural pauses. But you could easily edit those in, and that's
100%,
that's what's fucking me up. But what were you gonna say?
But it's the timbre of the voice is like
Right.
indistinguishable, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't even tell.
It's
So
crazy.
if they can just tweak the intonation a little bit, like that. So they had recently that Joe Rogan TikTok ad. Did you see that one that went viral?
Yeah.
Where it was like a TikTok tag where Joe Rogan was like endorsing this product and it was like cutting to somebody else and it was like
Some fucking
it,
dick pill or something.
You could, like you knew if you watched it that, okay, Joe Rogan wouldn't do that. But for the lay TikTok user, like that was, I'm curious. I have to imagine that got banned, the ad, but I'm curious how much
did.
money that ad made before it got taken down. Because I mean, there's a whole nother world out there now for deception and however you want to use it nefariously. I mean, selling a dick pill is one thing, but it can be when you're talking about misinformation campaigns and trying to convince
that's
on a
the
global
thing.
level.
It's crazy specifically because like I saw that ad and I knew it was fake because I was watching it and the video is like really janky and dumb, but the audio, just the audio,
sound
it's
great.
not all that unconvincing. Like it's pretty solid and it's crazy.
Yeah,
We're
and with
gonna-
enough
we're gonna-
tweaking, if you put a lot of TLC into it, it could be indistinguishable because you can tell that the person who spent like that person that did that Skyrim thing of us, the intro with that dude spent a decent amount of time where the intonation was extremely impressive.
It was.
Like this dude's telling a fucking story. The pauses are perfect. Getting low when it needs to. Getting high when I was like, what the fuck? I was like, it literally sounds like they got the voice actor to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck
terrifying.
is this?
At the beginning of the last episode, we had one of the first guy from Skyrim, the guy who goes like, "You're finally awake." Like somebody made that guy tell a story about us in like fucking Skyrim world, and it was just like, this is crazy that I'm hearing this.
We're fast approaching a period of time where audio proof and video proof is not just gonna be infallible anymore.
Well,
it's gonna be like
so we're gonna have to have AI create to kind of sentiently create AI that can detect fake AI stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like the idea of like this is the fact that like at what point does human intelligence become redundant, right? At what point can nothing that a human can possibly learn compete at any level with an AI that has been able to ingest the world's information and has the processing power to access it in nanoseconds.
The engineer's argument for that, like that is possible. The masses are going to be completely confused. That's what's going to happen. Like even right now, like we have automation that 300 people in a room can't build a fucking car. Right. But the idea is that this one fucking machine can put together a car way faster than anyone can do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what happens is that the knowledge of people, there will always be people, for the most part, that will be able to do those things AI does, right? But the fact that the mass majority of people can't do that. So the engineer's idea is that, like, there are always people that will be able to do these things. It's like, yes, but what happens is that when the average computer can do all that shit better than the average person in a really huge scale, that's when the problem really starts to set in.
What's crazy to me is that AI art happened before reliable self-driving cars. Because I thought for sure it would be like the opposite. Because art to me is like, oh, it's creative. You know what I mean? It has to think and like compose, and it has to know color theory.
Driving's creative too, technically, I guess.
Driving's pretty rigid, actually. You know what I mean?
It's not. That's why this shit gets fucked up to the degree it is. One motherfucker's like, I can make this, and then everything's fucked up on the fucking highway,
I knew when I was listening to people like Elon or whomever was saying shit like that, I was like, there's no way.
There's no
fucking way. There was no way because of just how chaotic freeways are. I was like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
And so
Cali.
if you listen to it, it's been pushed back every time it's been a question. And so I'm like, we're not there yet. Maybe another 20 years or something. We'll actually get some.
I think there's an unspoken like intuition that it takes to be a reliable driver that is very hard to replicate with AI. Like you can like AI is always going to have faster response times, right? Faster, but there's certain things about being a human where you have to take in a lot of different data points that are almost impossible to maybe program. Like it'll get there. For sure.
Eventually.
There's a lot of nuance in the human mind that prevents like a computer from being able to do it.
I mean, I'm probably like coping right now, just hoping my entire life's not going to be replaced by a robot in 5 years. So like, just let us have driving at least for a few more, because probably all our jobs are going to be fucking replaced in the next 5 to 10.
Eventually it's going to happen, because that happened with the horses. Niggas and the horses, man, they got replaced eventually.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
Got a designated area that we can ride your horse, and that's going to be the exact same thing for cars. You're going to have a designated area to drive, and that's it.
What are the political? What are the political? Not to get too, we're not going to get super political, but like I'm curious as to what the political implications are going to be when most.
It's the Chinese.
Chinese.
Oh, sorry.
That was quick. That was reflex, bro.
That's my Tourette's.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, dude. I was just curious. Like, what do you do when? Like, let's say you have like a workforce, right? And you have like this massive amount of tons of people in the population that are working age and willing to work and trying to find work, and then most jobs get replaced with robots. Like, what do you do with like a 50% unemployment rate? You know what I mean? Just not even necessarily because that many people are unemployed, but because there's nothing left that there's fewer. That's the
argument for UBI,
things.
Man.
That's scary,
the argument for UBI.
Yeah, and it's a future. Unfortunately, it's a very prevalent future.
Yeah, that's going to happen for sure.
That's why UBI has been
more
fucking
jobs. There become more jobs
introduced,
but then there becomes less people that are qualified to doing said jobs, and then there's going to be more jobs, people building things like that. So people start That's why, like, I'm becoming a nurse. Like, I studied nursing. Like, I don't It's because of the fact that that's a job that's always reliable. As of right now, in 15 years, there's probably going to be robots that can out-nurse anyone on the fucking planet.
They got
robot nurses.
I've seen videos of doctors doing remote surgeries, like advanced remote surgeries, like using robotics, like not in the same location, but
what the fuck?
Yeah, like that kind of that bedside manner, there is an aspect to it that I think it will be a while before that can be replaced by robots. Like they're going to be better at a lot of things for sure. But like to your point, Chris, you know, when we reach a point where you're in an industry and it's like, okay, I can replace 200 people with one machine that cost me money one time. And that's all I have to do is buy that machine. It will do this job. And then I don't have to pay a salary for 200 people. Like, yeah, and I don't know, at a societal level, unemployment rates getting that high, you know, like 20, 30, 40%, like that's catastrophic. I don't know. Like, unless there is a seismic shift in the, of course. But unless there's a seismic shift in the way, you know, we view economics and how it's whatever. And like Derek was saying, UBI obviously is one thing where, you know, you kind of subsidize that by, if you're concentrating the level of wealth generation because of all the money these corporations would be making by saving and not employing people, et cetera, that needs to be distributed to the people who are now out of jobs. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very dumb and I make YouTube videos about stupid shit. So it's like, but it's fun to theorize about. Yeah. All right, good.
It's cool to think about these things.
It's
in a very dreadful way, a very dread-filled, terrifying, cool way.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I look forward to the day that humans aren't fucking their sole purpose. Yeah. when their sole purpose isn't to work for a certain amount of time and die, where it's the purpose is actually enjoying life. Being creative and being innovative and stuff instead of like when robots take over, it's like when robots fucking take over eventually, whenever the fuck that's actually gonna be, it's gonna force. We're gonna see, like, say in the progressive parts of Europe, what they're gonna do first, and then kind of like say the penises of Europe, like the Nords, whatever the fuck they do. Because I imagine they're going to be the first to implement whatever the fuck's going to happen and see how it actually works, because they've been kind of the catalyst for a lot of shit that they're like, okay, let's see how this works if we do this, let's see if it works if we do that and this and that, and then they seem to be thriving.
Healthcare, drugs,
something that sounds fucking crazy is like their prison system, where like even like crazy murderers, it's like you're at a retreat. But, like, these motherfuckers are actually being rehabilitated, which is very controversial, because I'm like, I don't know if I want that motherfucker to be treated like he's at a camp, because he just murdered a bunch of people. However,
I've always had a huge argument against
their
that.
Their system fucking works, though.
I think it should be a summer camp. I think they should have little scavenger hunts.
This is a bit heavy, all right? This is a bit heavy of a conversation.
Well, then I don't care. Then I don't care. Let me ask.
But let me speak.
The future of
Derek, edit it out.
That I'm going to say it. I'm saying anyway. I'm going to make you do more work.
Go ahead and put some N-bombs in, because it's not going out. It's not going.
But the idea of I think people need to work. I don't think that, like, we're not built for an era. Like, that's why people that are bored have so much their problems. We need to have something to aspire toward, and a lot of people don't always have that.
That doesn't have to be work, dude. It doesn't have to be
work. No, it doesn't have to be work, but work is the simplest way for a lot of people to be able to.
People need to work because they need fucking money. They need money.
This is
look at the whole idea. Hold on, I just need to count it really fast. The whole idea of UBI, for example, is not something, because people are still going to have to work now. They're not going to give enough money to stop working. However, in a time where, say, work isn't available anymore, it needs to be done. And here's the thing: if you have enough money to survive, you have also enough money now, because everybody has a fucking dream and goals and aspirations, but usually it's like, I have to fucking work to survive. Now it gives people ideas, and like, say, if I didn't have to bring in money, I would solely be focusing on music. It would just, I really wouldn't give a shit about, like, my channel and all that stuff would be gone, for an example.
I do think on some level, it's not being bored that's the problem. It's actually how many ways out of being bored that we have. Because I remember that, like, the reason that I even started YouTube in the first place is because I was so fucking bored. I was so fucking bored just sitting in my room, and, like, I would play a video game and that would be fine for a while, but it was like, oh my fucking God, I need to do something. And then I found this thing, and I was just like, oh, this is cool. So boredom isn't the problem. I think boredom is actually really fucking necessary. I think the fact that we can't sit with boredom for too long without like looking for like an easy way out. I think that's one of the. I mean, that kind of goes back into the conversation we were having earlier about social media. It's like an easy. It's an easy way to get out of boredom without actually having to do something for yourself and that's meaningful. But
I agree because the way the ways most people figure out boredom is like the idea of like I'm going to go online. You know, like when I'm bored, usually I read something. Like I read a book, I read a comic, I read about something. You know,
you skin a butterfly.
I skin a butterfly. I hunt down the biggest bear in the general area, and I feed it like laxative, so it's gonna shit itself till it dies. You know, like stuff like that. You know, I go out and I get active. I do something.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just don't.
When I think about boredom, though, a lot of people, because there is an infinite amount of things to do, really. But people are they're trying to do something within a certain time period that they have. Especially like if you're a student or if you're working, you have a finite amount of time to entertain yourself, and you kind of have to find that perfect box. Like, say, I actually been wanting to get back into Red Dead Redemption 2, but I don't have time to play it right now. I just don't have time to play it because it's just if I really want to enjoy it, I need hours, and I don't have time. I'm doing too many other things. And so if I didn't have to spend so much time working, for example, I'm fucking playing RDR2. I'm doing my music. I'm spending extra time. I want to spend like fucking 3 hours at the gym a day. I just don't have time to do it. Yeah. You know, there's so many things that I want to do, but I have to just find these little moments to do the things I want to do versus all the fucking editing and research and other stupid ass bullshit I got to do for my job. Not to say like I'm not complaining because I'm still doing this job. I don't have to do it. However, it's very time consuming, you know. But I'm just saying, like, if I didn't have, if there was just money, you know, subsidized, like we talked about, these companies being, and government subsidizing this shit and giving us a certain amount of money to survive, I feel like I would be infinitely happier. Now,
of course,
I just feel like
you'd be able, I think.
Well, anyway, you got to counter that, Leon. Please,
partly. I think that yes, basic human needs should be met for people. I don't know how that's achieved, especially as we head into the future.
Right.
But I think there's a bigger part of it than just like being bored and not having time to do what you want to do. I think that there is a large swath of people that, given a bunch of free money to take care of their human needs, would be depressed fucking loser slugs. And I think that them just hating capitalism in their job on TikTok has become their personality because it's a fun thing to do and it's trendy. Outside of that, I think money or not, right? Like either you have money, say you're independently wealthy. Like how many fucking giga rich people have you seen, like musicians, chefs, like that end up offing themselves because they're so depressed and miserable and bored? So like, I think there's a level of, yes, you need your basic needs met. And if you can't do that, if you can't have opportunities to work to do that, that's a problem. If there is a point where a large swath of our skill sets as humans aren't required, there needs to be a way to have our needs met to open up time to do things. I think ultimately it comes down to this idea. I don't know, like the word purpose, I guess, is one of the things. Like purpose. I don't really even know what mine is. I'm 37. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I do know that the happiest I've ever been through different phases in my life is when I have a very specific thing I'm working towards, and it's fucking hard to do, whether it's a physical achievement, whether it's, you know, something work related. So yeah, I feel what you're saying with like when you're doing something you hate because you need your basic needs met, that can be very
infuriating.
That can be infuriating. But I think that still leaves time to do things that you like. You still have time to play music. And I think there's this idea that if I didn't have to do the thing I hate to make the money to live, I would just be so happy because I'd spend all my times doing the thing I love. I think a lot of people would come to find out that's not the case. They would find, I don't know. This is in my own experience as well.
You might be right. You might be right just because of how we've been conditioned to behave.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned to feel that we have to work all the time. Well, and then I'll let you go. The one thing I think about is because is people feel like they need to do this, they need to work, and then, for example, old people, for example, they want to work to a certain time and then they retire, and then usually on average they're fulfilled. They have their pension or whatever the fuck they have, and now they're kind of riding off to the sunset, going to fucking Florida or whatever. Then you have the other side of it. There's a lot of, that seem miserable and broke and shit. But the ones that say have the fixed income where they can take care of themselves, they usually seem pretty well off and pretty happy, and like, I fulfilled my purpose. But like, say, if we change what the purpose of living is, for now it's more about being creative than just being working to survive, essentially. I feel like over time it could change, but it's solely a social experiment, right? Like it would have to see what the fuck would happen, because you might be right.
I think it's outside of specifically. I think it's bigger than just this occupational lane that we all have to kind of live in a certain way. I think it just comes down to your belief system, your values, the family, the kind of the life you've built, the people around you. Like I think I can think of a ton of examples, and it's not really a counter for your argument, but it's like, I know, I've worked a lot of jobs over my life. I've worked with plenty of immigrants, like undocumented landscaping, stuff like this. Obviously, restaurant industry, a lot of Guatemalans, a lot of Brazilians, stuff like this. And there's this weird thing where, like, some of the people that are working the longest hours and the hardest just to support themselves or send money home to their family, like 80, 90 hours a week, are the nicest and the happiest. And then the higher up the scale you go, to the people who seemingly have it all, are the biggest fucking cunts of all time. I worked at a ritzy bar, or at a bar in a ritzy town. And these motherfuckers, these women who come in, they have everything you ever wanted. Husband's worth $70 million. They are the most miserable people I've ever met. Like, what is that? I can't figure it out.
Struggle.
Yes.
I know.
So we need the struggle.
You're right. There needs to be struggle, and I totally agree with that. And that's why I feel like, say for me, what would replace the struggle of having the need to, or feeling compelled to work, would be the things that I've kind of want. My personal goals is to be Herculean, be an Adonis. Sure. Something that I've never truly achieved because I just get too lazy, and then I get too consumed in my other shit. It's something that, like, now I'm gonna put most of my focus into. And it's one of the things that there's other people that do it now, so it's still bullshit on me. Like, it's not a great excuse to be like, well, if I had more time. But I'm just saying, for example, I would hope that people would have, in general, something to strive for, like, to, whatever it was. I hope I now said, like, my argument completely backfired. What if most people just turn into lazy slugs and then they become depressed? Because it is a struggle. Those people that work the 3 jobs and stuff like that, they're the most humble and the most happiest and shit.
I do think there's an aspect of this that's, like, purpose driven in the sense,
purpose,
and not necessarily.
It's on an individual level as well. Like, it's not a generalization for all people.
I personally think that, like, and it's just the way that I kind of view it. Is like, I think a lot of people are miserable, not necessarily because they're struggling or not struggling, but I think because the struggle that is present feels so fucking just
vapid,
vapid and unnatural.
Stupid.
It's like because, like, I've said this a million times, and a lot of people think I believe this and that I don't, but I really fucking sincerely do. Like, if something were to happen, right, and the internet was gone, and we all just got fucking just not blown away, but I mean, just, like, as far as, like, technologically speaking, like, if we are back into in a situation where it's like, okay, it's like a survivalist society. It'd be really rough, but I feel like I feel somehow like I would be a lot happier never checking a fucking email again, or, like, doing any of this vapid, like, just this shit that, like, means something because we've built it up to mean something, versus, like, I've actually got to I've got to build a fucking life, and I've got to actually, like, survive. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about there's something about the
mentality,
there's something about
right?
There's something about the vapidness of, like what survival means in the modern day. That is frustrating to me.
100%. That's why
it is very annoying. Like, the idea of, like, doing taxes, paying car insurance, fucking making sure you have your dental, all these, like, stupid things that just seem like they should be already. A human based in modern society should have these things. They should not be things that we have to go out and really have to deal with, or they should be taken care of based on, like, how far we've come as creatures. The fact that some of these things exist, it's like, that's so stupid. But the idea of like being in constant strife.
There's a lot of middlemen where there just doesn't need to
but
be.
Like,
it's fucking stupid.
It's true. But the idea of constant strife is because I've had strifeful situations.
Well, do you think?
And the idea of it being constant is insane.
No, but
it's just madness.
But it wouldn't be. What I'm saying, like, do you think? Like, I really can't imagine that cavemen were depressed. You know what I mean?
No, they weren't depressed, but they were probably alert all the time.
Maybe chemically, but not on a social level. Probably not. Maybe not out to a large scale like how we are.
Well, maybe the caveman with like the gimpy leg who like got made fun of or whatever was kind of feeling.
Yeah. Well, no. When it's dark, creatures try to kill you, bro. Well, things that you can't fight off.
I just want to go back real quick to the whole when I was talking about struggle. Like, think about that's kind of my point. If you talk about cavemen, they're too busy living. They're too busy grinding because they have to. They have to do this shit to survive.
And
I feel like on the same level, like you ever,
real, bro.
you ever
it's
like
the ancestral tenets.
Do you remember that exactly? What was that show? Sweet 16 or whatever on MTV.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember that fucking
Classic.
show. And I always thought about why those girls would freak out so much is because they've never. It's so easy. Like say people get mad when they hear stuff like this, but somebody who has had maybe PTSD from a war and then the 16-year-old girl who got the wrong color in her car have the same level of depression. It sounds fucked up, but because of their experience, she's never been inconvenienced in her life. And that little thing that is so minor to us was a big fucking deal to her.
It's all perspective,
and so you see, like,
I guess,
right. And so what I'm saying is,
it was really disrespectful, but the outcome is still to a similar degree.
Like
maybe that's maybe justified or validated.
Right. Yeah. So socially, that's obviously like bullshit on the little kid. But my whole point is that because she has so much more depression or so much more to worry about in her mind because she's never been inconvenienced. Be it then there's somebody else who does work 2 to 3 jobs, who something horrible happens to them and they don't have time to be worried about shit that goes pretty wrong. Like, I still got to be on my grind.
I do wanna,
and I think that's pretty. Well, go ahead.
No, I do want to get ready to transition into questions because there's like we got a handful.
For sure.
But
we're an hour 30. Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want to just to close out this. I'm gonna start doing this, and you guys can't stop me. I want to ask Liana a question.
Ooh,
and it's a philosophical hypothetical. Do you have a dog?
I do not.
Oh man, it's gonna be tough. Let's say you've had a dog. Let's say you've had a dog for about 5.
I grew up with a dog that I love dearly. So
okay, good. So imagine that dog, right? Imagine that dog. He's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something. You've still got a lot of time left with him. And you're walking your dog, and you walk by a psychic's office, and a psychic walks out, and he says, "That's the soul. That is the reincarnated soul of Jack the Ripper in that dog," and walks back inside. And this irks you for a little bit, and you take it to various different psychics across the country: Ohio, Michigan, Florida, Texas, Wyoming, all sorts of places. And each one of them, the second they see the dog, they're like, "That's absolutely Jack the Ripper." You don't bring it up; they bring it up independently. Do you continue loving that dog, or do you get rid of it?
I love it.
You love it, so you would nurse.
Thank you.
So you would continue to nurse Jack the Ripper
because there was nothing leading up to that. Like up to that, it was just a good dog. So
well, what if you noticed after that he started getting a little irritable around women?
Or you backtrack and you do some time back. You're like, oh, he did not like women that much.
Yeah, he barks every time there's a female around. I just didn't really notice that before. That's so the idea of like reincarnated soul. So the problem is that you don't know if he has the same intentions that Jack the Ripper's did as a dog now, or if there was some sort of reformation that maybe happened and he has those memories, but now he's a dog and he has a new lease on life. So I would maybe ask the psychic about that. Then I would slit the psychic's throat and high five Jack the Ripper, my dog.
There you go. that is the best answer.
Aren't we sick, dude? We're awesome. Your dog just looks at you with approval, just shakes its fucking head.
I've asked that question to a lot of people, and many people like more than I think it's actually sincerely an even split on people like I would get rid of that dog. And people like I would.
I feel like that's such an insane to get rid of that dog is such an insane thing Because that is a dog now. That's not Jack the Ripper anymore. That's a dog.
I think the people who get rid of it are just uncomfortable at the, at the
women?
idea.
Or is it women?
Are women?
Is it women?
Stop.
It's just I think they're put off by the idea of Jack the Ripper kind of licking your face as you wake up on a calm Sunday morning.
It's not Jack the Ripper. It's Jack the Ripper as a dog now. It's a different creature.
Well, anyway, that's a good answer.
To
Let's get into some of these
Come,
questions.
my liege. We have women to slaughter. And it's like,
He just has a fucking like top
Gray-
hat and a cloak and shit out of nowhere.
As a
He's so
dog.
adorable. He's so
Yeah, I would
adorable.
definitely. I would dress him up like Jack the Ripper. Absolutely.
of course. I'm like,
but,
don't you love this?
You're not going to believe that, but this is the soul of Jack the Ripper. Yeah, I'd start charging $100 to see him, make him do tricks,
I love
put on a little play with him.
The reason I love that hypothetical is like there's three outcomes or there's two outcomes and three implications. It's like, okay, the first one is that you would love and care for something who is essentially Jack the Ripper because you are biased towards it. The second one is that you would hold a dog accountable for the soul it just happened to have. And then the third one,
that was kind of my thought process.
and then the third one is you trust psychics very, very much.
I mean, if that many of them said something, if it was all cooperating,
they could be just universally gaslighting you. They might just have a problem with
They
you
just
because
every fucking dog they see, they all say it's Jack the Ripper. That'd be actually pretty.
That's
smart.
probably the most prolific in my decision. Is I carry 0 ounces of astrology in my body.
yeah, there you go.
Good
man.
Yeah,
You're a
Good
sane
man.
person. Good.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
on to some of these questions. Gray Ghost wrote, and he says, "Hello, cuntbags and Leon. In one of Mr. Lush's old videos entitled "This YouTuber Loves Cigarettes More Than Anyone." Awesome
Nice.
title. I love that title.
Yeah.
Leon has a mouthful of cigarettes in the thumbnail. My question is, how many cigarettes was it, and how many cigarettes could you each fit in your mouth and smoke successfully at once?
So that particular video, you can actually. It's the thumbnail of the video.
Yeah.
But it was a full pack of cigarettes, American Spirit. So it was 20 cigarettes. I just put a little bit of.
You wasted American Spirits for that?
Bro, I got 2 packs. I needed one to do some B-roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm looking at this thumbnail. I thought you just photoshopped it very, very well.
No,
Is
that's
that
a
real?
legit picture. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
madness.
that's by far and away my best thumbnail I've ever done. I'm terrible at thumbnails, but that was the one.
That's
that
a great
video
one.
absolutely cranked, and then like obviously got demonetized months later and just stopped getting residual views. But yeah, 20 cigarettes, and I used a propane lighter to light it up, and
Nice.
I used the same lighter propane today to light my fire pit.
Yeah.
But how many?
dope.
I think if it wasn't that bad. I mean, I was even holding it like this. I could probably do maybe 40 if I had to do 2 packs. I could probably fit that in my fat
I
mouth.
got a pretty big mouth. So I
damn.
could probably do it.
Yeah.
I could probably do a huge amount of cigarettes.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, so I don't have any idea as to like.
You've
the
never smoked a
surface of-
cigarette?
No, I've never been.
What
I
about a
just grew up-
cigar? Cigarillo? Anything?
I've smoked cigars. See, the thing is, I grew up around cigarettes, and just like the smell of it was just like so like off-putting. So like I never had an
Understandable.
inclination.
Right.
And funny, and I didn't grow up around weed at all. So like when I got out here, I didn't have like some weird association with like the smell, so it didn't bother me as much. But like, yeah, I never had an inkling for cigarette. Also, everybody that I spoke to who happened to smoke cigarettes, they just happen to have like a really fucked voice. And I just
Yeah.
noticed it.
It does.
I don't think
it
that's
fucks your voice. No, it does
Sure.
fuck your voice.
no, but they were
After
too young.
time.
They were the
Okay,
people that I
yeah.
knew were too young. It was just something that I knew. It probably had nothing to do with cigarettes, but it's just like another like negative association.
Hi,
And you're really missing out on one of the best life experiences.
What, being addicted to cigarettes?
Kidding, of course.
I was watching like I was
Time to
watching
go to
this,
flavor country, boy.
Yeah, I was watching this thing where like some guy was talking about how like he was asking his wife to like quit cigarettes, and she was like, "Ah, man, you don't know how hard it is." And then he started smoking cigarettes to prove it was easy to quit, and then he got addicted.
Good hooks.
And
That's so
What,
stupid.
did he
That's
think
so
it like the
wildly
addiction had
dumb.
nothing to do with the chemicals in the fucking thing? Did he just think of
So
like,
wild.
oh,
It's like, oh, you're just being. It's like the people that's like, just go to the gym. It's like, it's actually a little harder for me to lose weight than it's like, dude, just go to the gym. I'll gain weight and I'll lose weight. And it's like, all right, go ahead, do it. And they don't.
Well, honey, you were right about the cigarettes, but to prove I'm still right, I'm going to try crack next.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then he's gone. He's a meth head by the end of the fucking year.
I've been thinking about
my
crack.
teeth are gone.
I've been thinking about crack a lot these last few days.
Who hasn't been?
Because I've seen this resurfaced footage of like McGruff the crime dog singing about
I got
singing
rules.
about crack and cocaine.
Love
By the way, he
McGruff.
got arrested for selling drugs. Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
Like the guy who does the voice.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
fucking
I was
yeah,
like,
I
wait,
was like-
they
I was
animated that? I was like, did they
like,
animate that?
that's
I was like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Character.
Sweet irony, yeah.
No, it's
I'm
fucking
like, that's a cartoon
funny.
character, Chris. How did they arrest him? But never mind. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on. This guy's name is I had gay sex while listening to Radioactive and I don't regret it. Hell yeah.
Nice.
I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
We've been
Very intense
I don't
screen
know if,
name.
yeah, Leon, we've been doing these how do we even we've been doing these like intentionally like homoerotic gay parodies of like of like
Sus
famous
covers.
songs. Yeah, and Radioactive by Imagine
So it all
Dragons.
started.
Oh, like on the show, or like just you're making actual?
We just
like,
do it. We
So-
just post it on the podcast channel.
Oh,
with
fuck
no,
yeah.
With no context.
It's mad.
Yeah, we have like a Patreon exclusive episodes that we do, and then so for
Got
two
it.
of them we did a Radioactive one, then we did the Randy Newman You Got a Friend in Me,
Nice.
and the next one I know we're gonna do another one. There was two choices. I can't remember. Two people said something different. There was
So we had
Disturbed.
we had
Down with the Sickness.
we had
What was
down
the
with
other
the, we had down with the
Great
dickness,
song.
down with the
That
dickness,
down.
and then there was another one that we came up with at a party where we were all a little bit buzzed, where it was Disturbia, but I don't want to spoil it because it's pretty good. I think
It's
I
a
want to
really
do
good
Disturbia
one.
next.
We should try it out.
Rihanna?
I
Yeah,
promise you,
it's good. It's really good.
Derek,
Bro,
I
that
promise
shit
you.
ain't.
I
that
promise
shit,
you.
Look,
I promise you. I
It's
promise
good,
you.
Derek. It's good.
It doesn't matter.
I guess I'm just like singing like Rihanna doesn't sound like
No,
that's
no,
in my
we're not gonna
fucking
try.
range.
Are you seriously gonna try?
Dude. Okay, Leon, you got to hear the chorus for Radioactive. What do you mean? Are we seriously going to try?
We
All right, knock
went pretty hard. We went pretty
knocked
hard
that.
on that
We
one.
knocked that shit out of the fucking
We
park.
did not-
yeah, dude, I love your music covers, man.
Anyway,
It's looking. Yeah.
anyway, greetings.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Greetings, racially diverse band of Bin Laden supporters. I don't know what you heard,
That's not true. You
but
can't prove it.
that's only like partially true at most. I have found several of my favorite content creators through Chris's Paul voices, including but not limited to Leon Lush, Nakey Jakey, Meat Canyon, and the Act Man. I think Chris already mentioned his dream Paul voice, but my question for the rest of you guys is: what dream collaborations do you have for the Bostonian? Are you planning on doing any Badland Chug styles? I don't even know what this is. For the Bostonian, I forgot.
Bostonian.
Yeah.
I was so confused. You know what's wild? I've never seen the word Bostonian written out.
Really?
Yeah, I've only ever heard
It's like
it.
Estonia. I don't understand it.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I caught it.
Yeah. Are you planning on
Badlands
doing any more
style collab.
Badlands Chug style collaborations? Love you all in the game.
You know what? I don't have anything.
That
in the
video was
pipeline.
epic as shit, man.
Yeah, it was. It's probably one of my best videos by far. One of the main reason is because I no longer have a local editor. That was when I still had my guy Josh, who lives. He was worked with me, and he now is the lead creative director for Mr. Beast. Got yoinked a couple years ago, and since I've been just I work with a guy that's in Romania. So I don't know. I love the idea of doing more IRL collabs and stuff like that, but it is obviously a lot more effort. And as my son's getting older, I've become a little bit of like a homebody family type guy, right? So
yeah.
it would behoove me to do it because people like it. You can cross pollinate with audience and stuff like that. But I don't have anything. I think I should start with just trying to do like one a year. I don't know what it would be, but the Badlands one was legendary, and it only took like a day. I met him in Long Island in a fucking Target parking lot. We fucking shot it in like 2 hours.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a legend. But no, I don't know. Dream collab list, man. I don't know. Probably. That's a tough one. I don't really think about that stuff very often.
Yeah, it's been a while since I think honestly that once before the pandemic I had so many plans to shoot with so many people. I was
Same,
planning
kind
this.
of.
I was planning this documentary about E3 that I still have written out entirely. Like I had like all these interviews set. I was gonna fly out to fucking London, fly out to fucking New York and Vegas,
yeah.
all these different places, and then everything fucking died, and I was like, wow, this sucks. And then I had to just like sit in my room and make these like videos that like I was like, oh man, I don't want to be doing this exactly. You know, like I was so hyped up for this next kind of level thing. So I haven't thought about it in a long time, but I think I'm looking at voice people specifically. Like I think because that's how I collaborate with most people, and the rationale behind that is because like I've seen a lot of collaborations where, you know, it just sort of feels like I don't know, people are there for the creator. And so when there's another person that the audience might not jive with or they might not get exactly, or like maybe it just takes up too much of the video or something, that could be kind of aggravating. I know I've seen many videos like this where like, you know, it's a collab and like I want to see this guy do his own thing, and then there's this other guy kind of like always there, and it's just kind of like it throws the vibe off. And so I love the Paul shit specifically because it's like this quick thing that doesn't interfere. It's still the video, it's still a collaboration, it's still this like person, and if you recognize the person, you're just like, oh cool, it's like a neat little Easter egg. And if not, then you're curious, like who was that? It's always at the end of the video and all that stuff. It's I feel like it's like a nice subtle way to do it. So I've always wanted to work with like really like somebody like Richard Horvitz, who's like the voice of like Invader Zim and shit, or like Keith David, these like voice actors, like really fucking amazing people who I have no right to remotely know or be in the presence of. So that was always like I can't think of anything specific right now aside from those two because those stick out.
And Justin Roiland too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Justin Roiland, he's got to be available now.
You know,
he's looking for YouTubers to collab with.
He's definitely got some free time on his hands for sure.
Chris, help me.
You don't need to collab. You can do it perfect, dude. Fuck that.
For me, 100% Keith David. I would love to have any sort of means of working with the great Keith David. Any sort of means where he's just a voice in something I do. Anything possibly, it would be perfect.
Yeah,
I just like how do you I just wonder if it's even possible, like if that's something that could actually happen.
I know maybe people who know him.
Yeah, well,
but
I mean,
that's a stretch still. Like,
gotta rub the shoulders, man. I mean, yeah, it is a stretch because he doesn't like he doesn't even like he doesn't do. Can't believe he doesn't do fucking Cameo. That's like insane to me. That like upsets me. That he's one of the guys that should fucking be on there.
If he did Cameo, he would just be working too often. He wouldn't get job roles.
I mean, he can just
selectively. I got like 8,000 cameos set up for me.
You set it high, and then you just do selectively. I would pay for one.
I'll answer this too, just because like I know that the question's probably like a little bit more content creator centric. I will say I know this might be a little controversial. I don't know. I have always wanted to work with JonTron. Like I feel like that would have been the fucking, and I know him. Like I could easily like it's just something like something about it just feels like.
His videos rock, dude. Yeah,
his videos are like every time you post a video, it's like I make time to watch it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a few people like that do that well as well.
I think that controversial vibe has sailed a long time ago.
Yeah, probably, right.
Fuck,
nice.
man. Yeah. That would love to
sit with Rich Evans and those guys and watch a movie. Sounds like such a good time.
That would be insane.
That would be fucking great. I just want to be on set when they do like a Plinkett thing or something. I just want to like kind of just be like it's like fucking Mike will do the Plinkett voice, but then Rich will actually play Mr. Plinkett. You know, like I would just love to just be there when they're doing that dumb shit. I would just love to be around there. Yeah, that would be fucking Red Letter Me would be awesome.
Did you see the video where they bought all the VHSs for that old like really shitty Alien movie to make it more valuable? So they bought as many of like it's called Nookie or something.
Oh my god, that's so insane.
This movie about some alien that just says that, I think I could be. It's one of the more recent videos that they have, and they bought like hundreds of these VHSs. And it's already like a really really rare movie, and then they just shredded all of them. They threw them all into a wood chipper except for one. So that their copy is like, it's hilarious. It's so fucking funny.
I wonder if that'll gain any traction just based on that lore of that story. But seems a little insane.
What is that bad movie thing they do? I can't search for the worst.
Best of the worst. Yeah.
Best of the worst. Best of the worst. Yeah, I love that because I've been a huge fan of doing that since I was really young.
Oh yeah, watching
and every once in a while they'll hit on one of the movies that there was in MySpace. This clip from a movie called Undefeatable went so fucking viral, It's just one of the worst fight scenes you'll ever see, with this fucking guy with like Jerry curls just screaming way too loud, and it's beautiful. And they watched the movie, and I was so fucking happy that they finally got across that one. And there's still some that I'm waiting for them to hit, but eventually I think it's gonna happen. But yeah, anyways, I would love that one. I would say that would be my answer on that side. And then musically, I've been more focused on that. I'm shooting for the stars. I've been contacting people that normally, like, there's no fucking chance. Or trying to, like, I know this guy Jared Dines, and he's been working with Howard Jones, who was in Killswitch Engage. And I'm like, all right, I may lose contact with Jared by asking, but I don't give a fuck. I'm like, hey, man, I'm trying to fucking get a hold of Howard, because he doesn't have social media presence. And then, like, I know Corey Taylor's son, Griffin. And so I was like, I'm cool with him, but I felt weird, and I was like, I might burn this bridge, but I'm gonna be like, hey, yo, man, your dad's the GOAT. I need to get shot on. And like this thing, like, cause he reached out, Corey, he stumbled upon some fucking UK rapper, which I hate most UK rappers, but this guy's all right. And he did a track with him randomly. This guy was like virtually unknown, so it gave me like a boost in confidence that maybe I can somehow sink my claws in. I knew his wife before they got married, Alicia, and I'm like, this has to work. So right now, like, just a little while ago, I sent a message, and I'm like, let's see what happens. I either burn the bridge, or maybe something happens.
Maybe something cool happens.
Just grab a bunch of old Instagram photos of his wife and make a little fan edit and send it to him. He'll probably like that.
Speaking of stuff like that, is I've Hugh Laurie. Do you guys know who Hugh Laurie is? He's Dr. House.
The name. Oh, okay, yeah,
Dr. House.
Right.
He follows me on Twitter, and I've been so scared. Like, I want to be like, yo, can you do a voice for me? Like, that'd be fucking amazing.
Ask him.
But no, because I think
as House.
Yeah, as House.
But
but the thing to me is like, I feel like he
so
followed me by accident, and I don't want to let him know.
He's following you.
right. You don't want to be. You want to be like, who the fuck is this? Why am I following him? Boom.
Yeah. It's kind of it where it's like, I don't know, man. I like having
you gotta
that
shoot.
follow.
You gotta shoot the. You gotta shoot the shot,
I
man.
love you
gotta shoot the shot. You gotta do it.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it.
I mean, I would do it more because I lost my main Twitter account when I.
Because you impersonated. He impersonated Donald Trump, and then he got fucking.
What was it? I think it was like a day or two after he got suspended. I impersonated.
No,
him.
It was that night, bro.
Was it the same day?
It was that night, Derek. It was literally
it was like 2 years ago. It was like 2 years ago.
That shit was fire, though. I thought it was funny as fuck. It just felt like it was a bad idea.
Still, yeah. So that was stupid because like it was like 90,000 followers, and there was a lot of prominent people that I gained. That I was like, oh, I have a direct pipeline, and that was the only one that I had. Dude, I got restricted by comedian what's his name Tom Segura. I used to talk to him on Instagram, and I fucked up by saying, hey, this may sound weird, but I'm actually friends with Joe Rogan, and I'm trying to get in contact with him, and long story short, I got suspended. He fucking just restricted my account. Like, I found out by when I was trying to comment on one of his other posts, and then on my fitness channel, I noticed that my other comment wasn't showing up. So I was just like, oh, he fucking restricted me. Holy shit. So he restricted me because he thought that I was probably some insane guy trying to trick him into contacting Joe Rogan. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Joe Rogan's paid for my drinks at a comedy show. I was gonna go on his podcast, but like he just didn't believe me, and I was fucking upset because I was just trying to get back to that pipeline of some people that I lost.
Damn,
because
man.
I wanted to. I don't really care about talking to Joe anymore, but it was at the time I was like, fuck, I can hawk a bunch of shit. Like, imagine going on the podcast now, for example. All I would do is just promote this fucking podcast, and then and eventually I would burn the bridge with him because there's some shit that I want to talk some shit to him. That guy, he's gotten fucking weird over the years. I want to talk some shit, but I feel like he knows that I've been talking shit about him, so I think that ship has sailed.
Oh well,
I don't give.
Twitter ban handle, man. You lose all your contacts. That's the problem. Yeah. When someone else owns your Rolodex.
It really does. It really does suck. But let's one quick one, last easy one. And then we'll call it. Fun fact: the word "cum" originated from a song in 1650 from Bishop Percy. Have a nice day. Wow. That's his name, by the way.
Bishop Percy?
Bishop Percy?
No. His name is Fun Fact. The word "cum" originated from a song in 1650 from Bishop Percy. Have a nice day. I
thought that was the question, bro.
No. So I have to.
Jesus Christ.
So I have to read the names at the end of every show, and I'm like kind of dyslexic, so they have this. Every fucking name is just this long fucking diatribe, just to try and get me to fuck up.
Amazing.
And it's awful. It's bullying.
Great fans. Great fans we have.
Yeah, thanks,
But
guys.
you
Appreciate it.
you pay for it, so like fucking whatever. Fine. Enjoy your crippled person fucking entertainment. But he asks or says, since we are going to be invaded by aliens soon, obviously referring to the UFOs, kind of shot down over various locations, which by the way is
pretty cool.
Real news. Somehow. I want to know, what species of alien would you want to meet or not meet in real life? It can be anything from media or theory. Me, anything that's slug-like. I don't want anything with appendages.
Too much mucus.
Yeah, I don't want anything with appendages that I feel like could potentially restrict me in some way. Like I don't want to feel like I'm at a combat disadvantage.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be chained up again. I feel you. That's definitely something for me. I don't ever want to be incapable of going where I want to go. I can feel you on that.
All right, well, let's keep it calm. You didn't get chained up.
I want.
I didn't.
Post Enlightenment Jodie Foster from Contact.
Oh my
I like
god,
it.
that's
I like
so
it.
specific.
He's a thinker, bro.
I'm totally kidding. Fuck Jodie Foster. Not really though. Nothing against her. I have no clue. I want to meet the fucking alien from Independence Day that Will Smith knocks out when he gets to Earth.
That's crazy that you said that, because I wanted my answer, and like the alien, but inside of their shell,
the little one.
It's Will Smith though. It looks like Will Smith. Like that's like there's a race of aliens that look like Will Smith.
If I was gonna meet an alien, I'd like to meet that Orion's Belt alien.
Dude,
from fucking Men in Black.
Men in Black. Yeah, I was just about to say Edgar, right? Or whatever his name is. I'm looking for a cat. I want him to be that, like, in that form.
What's his name of his Italian ass name? Thank you. I always forget his fucking
Yeah, he'd be fun to meet.
For me,
it's salt on him. Well, that's the slug. He's a slug-like guy, right? Is that why you throw salt and he dies? Was that right in the movie?
I can't remember. It's been so long.
He's a sugar water.
It's an old one.
Sugar and water.
Daredevil.
Sugar
water. What a good fucking performance.
For me, it's just I only want to meet hot aliens. Just I don't want any ugly. I just want.
Oh, you
aliens
just want
with big
like Mass
titties.
Effect shit.
I want like Gamora. I want like fucking. I want like Gamora. I want like fucking Liara. I want like Matrix. I want like this.
What about
Matriarch Benezia?
Exactly.
What about
you know your girl's not watching till the end. That's why you're going off right now, right?
She's gonna be watching the whole thing, and I'm gonna have to talk about this later on. But there are some things men have to stand for. You have to stand for certain things.
Alien titties, bro.
What about
big old alien titties?
Yeah.
What about that woman with the single individual boob in the middle of her chest from Kung Pao, Enter the Fist?
That's not an alien.
Well, it's not a person.
It's not an alien, though.
I mean, it could just be a person with weird genes.
There are aliens in that movie, so like I'm willing to bet that it's
Look,
probably.
All I'm saying is this, right? Hot aliens are fine, right? Hot aliens on the table. Aliens I don't want to meet. No alien that's too small. Like I hate things that can skitter away quickly. Like things that are really small that move very fast. That shit extremely bothers me.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah,
you don't like those aliens in what was that Peter Jackson movie called? It was in South Africa.
District 9?
It's not Peter
District
Jackson.
9.
No, they're fine. They're fine.
Wasn't it Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson now.
No.
Are you sure?
That's what are you talking? He might have produced it, but like I think it's that movie's Neil Blomkamp.
Why the fuck do I think he's involved in that movie?
You're fucking losing your goddamn mind. Probably why.
Probably. Yeah, those aliens are fine. Like aliens are fine. And especially, I have a problem against aliens that can't speak English. Like they don't have the vocal cords to be able to speak human languages. No. Because language
you
is a
can take
huge
that
divider.
right out of context, and that would sound great as a Twitter soundbite.
Oh yeah, it'd be. This is gonna sound horrible.
We'll just deepfake you saying illegal before it. Yeah.
My foreign ass descendants too. Just out here fucking.
I have a problem with illegal aliens that don't speak English. Yeah.
Because like Wookiees, what the fuck? I don't want to. The Wookiees are just of no help.
Have you?
They just scream.
Kingston, you're a Star Wars fan. I don't know where you. I'm not really big on Star Wars, but I saw a clip of like the original footage of the guy who played Chewbacca on set, and I guess they had, and it makes sense. It makes I don't know why I've ever thought about this, but they had the actor for Chewbacca read Chewbacca's lines in English on set, so that
people can know what to respond to.
Yeah, so that the other characters can understand the intonation and like respond appropriately. But seeing Chewbacca speak normal English, and he's got like this like really disturbing British accent, is one of the.
It was like a BTS scene from the actual. BTS from the actual film.
Yeah, it's like original footage. So like,
it's amazing.
I gotta look this up.
I can't remember where I saw it. I saw it on TikTok, I think. But like, it is jarring to see like Chewbacca be like, T'Chaka be like, hey, could you fucking get my lunch out of the? Wait, I don't just like whatever. I don't know any famous Chewbacca lines, but something along those.
That's about it.
That's about it. But yeah. Anyway, I think what are we at? 2? Yeah, we're at 2 hours. Perfect.
Two on the nose.
We actually went a little bit longer. Usually we start reading the fucking not the questions, the names. Well, by now, but yeah, was it good?
When you have a lot of important things to talk about, like we did, it sometimes takes a while.
When you're a smarter breed than most of you fucking idiot, slack-jawed bumblefucks out there, you got more to say, all right? You fucking chromosomeless idiots. Yeah. Go climb a tree and fall out of it, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, you're all
right, let's chill.
Racist,
these people give us money to do this. So like,
they better give me more.
Specifically to Patreon subscribers.
Yeah. Give me more money, you fucking.
So if
pay me more to stop degrading you.
If you don't want to be treated this way, go over to our Patreon over at patreon.com/snarktank and pop over there. There's some fun. There's a lot of exclusive stuff over there, like exclusive episodes and stuff like that. It's fun. I want to thank you for coming on, Leon. It's been
we appreciate it, man.
This is a strangely cerebral episode in comparison to a lot. Like we actually talked like for real.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah,
my mind to be stimulated.
I had a great time, man.
I appreciate you, Leon. Glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was a pleasure to be here.
Tell the audience where to find you if you're doing some stuff and music.
Leon LUSH on everything. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't have anything cool to promote right now, but I just stream and make YouTube videos once every year, it seems like lately. But yeah,
nice. Same. I'm exactly that boat. But, all right,
good
hell
shit,
yeah.
Man.
Well, again, pop on over to patreon.com /SnarkTank if you want to see some more stuff. Support us over here and leave us some good reviews on iTunes. That helps the algorithm for some fucking reason. Don't know why, but it does. So go ahead and do that. And I'll read the names now. Count me down, Sweeney.
3, 2, 1.
She Pipkin on my Pippa. Jordan Peterson's decrepit finger pointing out a colored person in a crowd. Domination. Average Clint energy. I watched the Christian doc and now I feel physically bad. Sweeney is a secret drag queen. Star Coffee. Please congratulate my friend Devin. He's pregnant. I don't mean metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or any other fancy way. I'm gay straight up. Staying hydrated to piss on Margaret Thatcher's grave at a moment's notice. I'd rather my kid be trans than a furry. Scream Team. Clit Yeastwood. Transfemme Gremlin. Can Logan Paul abandon a million pigs? My sexual awakening was the goth girl from NCIS and now my taste in women is ruined. The Halo 2 Scarab, but it's Logan Paul's pig instead. The Angelic Dungeon Master would like to propose a challenge. The challenge being welcome to the gay parade, an MCR gay parody. Reports from the field indicate that Chris Benoit has wrestled his wife and child to death and then himself. More at 11. Craig, the Canadian. It's your boy, Shawnee D. Isaac Clark, kicking the shit out of Mutant Baby since 2008. Matt Walsh is the hero of our time. Sweet Baby Gang for life. Indie Butterknife on YouTube.com. Alternate reality porn. Mr. Rogers is the tightest come hungry slut on the bang bus. What's with all these? What's all these homies? What's with these homies dissing my girl? I masturbate so much my dick looks like it got into a motorbike accident at 90 miles an hour. 3XO and the EP of gay music called Gay Bars by Bob the Drag Queen. Use it to further inspire your gay songwriting. Slappin', eatin', stroking, gulpin'. Emoticons going like this. Stormboy's Life and What He Like. And rounding out our list as always, Calculon with a dramatic ellipsis. Call her Little Caesars the way her pussy hot and ready. Drip MH, Lord of Drip. Nancy Pelosi killing a Palestinian with her massive tits. Obi won't you blow me. Loving women is gay. The fuck you kissing on cocksuckers for? Kremlin de Gremlin. The Messiah of misogyny. Cuck Norris. All Stawall. Okay, you said it right. Avi. Welcome to the Andrew Tate's Kidnapped Women and Little Dick Emporium. Fragile Masculinity sold separately. Gay Rage Against the Machine be like coming in his gay son. That's so dumb. Oh fuck, Wage Slave 583. What the fuck is that name? Bro, I can't even fucking read that, bro. Whoever that is, the one with the tiny letters and the giant question mark, God bless you. I feel gay, fuck you. The Papini Brothers Emporium of Obama's Let's Play clips. Pause. Culturally unaware snake. Fun fact, God of War 3, there's a quick time event minigame where Kratos has sex with Aphrodite, who is technically his aunt. Have a nice day. That's true. Tell him Steve Dave. Andre Brooks. In Sweden, you have to reverse park enforced by law? I don't know what that means. A reboot of the Bible where Jesus is black and trans and disabled. God is alive because Andrew Tate is going to be caked and cum in prison soon. John Strickland. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish would be a perfect movie if Jack Horner was also racist. Merck's 1889. L plus Heaven plus No Damsels plus Get Dueled plus Touch Gold. The First Church of Keith David, and it's impossible to read Braille with your penis. Goops McKenzie. Hey, Sween, what do you think of cis gay incest since they can't have babies? I ran over my 2003 Silverado with my Voodoo Blue 2020 Toyota Tacoma. Pre-Roz. Blake 896. Ashlet witnessed Hatsune Miku rap the N-word live. Fucking kill me. Derek goes like, yeah, I just want to say that I mean, like, when you think about it, it kind of implies that I like dicks. Clean your dick, bucko. Peterson away. Yeah. Flies away, hits building. In all honesty, what is this? Oh, fuck it. I'm not reading that, you fucking psycho. I'm not reading a name right now. I, Chris, just want to let you guys know that Imagine Dragons is also my favorite band. Mr. Brightside becomes a lot less cool when you realize he's a Mormon. Blocked by Steve Shives. Alaskan oilfield trash. Lieutenant Lipton's famous wyverns debunking the Pussy Hat incident of 2017. She sells seashells by the seashore, and he sells she sells on the seafloor. Sue Hulk. Danny DeVito fucked Matt Walsh to death. Parentheses, it was consensual. The Gout Law. Nikki Ziggy. The Locust Boomers were in charge of the giant worms because boomers specialize in destroying housing markets. Lobotomized Jesus, much like Jeffrey Epstein, loved all the little children. A tiny, insecure goblin creature that pilots Sween and is sexually abused by MILFs. The Clitorium Emporium. I like to chew Jolly Ranchers. Jackson DuPont. Badly Brave. Hugger Derek now has a bachelor's degree. Sweeney, there's a Kingdom Hearts trading card game. Be cursed with this knowledge as I have. Aetherian. Chris Gate, my Pedurian hunting ass. Melphis won the Hexblade. Warlock is retired. Now Swashbuckler Rose is his best friend. And as always, rounding out the list, King of Haphazard. Fuck you all.